That's not fair.
We don't like to laugh here.
You could say it's bad,
Thank you, I will.
but not that it's just about time. Boom, mic drop.
It's not about time. It's better than about time.
It's not about time. Oh,
But-
he said this. He said, "What's it about?" He said, 2030. To say like watching paint dry or something.
No, I didn't say that. I said it's about 2 hours and 20 minutes long.
Yeah, Ben also said it wasn't as bad as About Time. I mean, About Time had its own problems in a different way.
I can't remember it.
But that was
frustrating.
like About Time's problems weren't controversial.
No.
Or some of the problems weren't controversial. It was just bad writing.
Apart from the fact he was keeping Rachel McAdams hostage, technically. But we didn't like to talk about that bit.
I've forgotten about that film. That whole there was a lot of creepy.
The first date.
Yeah.
I said that in the call, and John was like, "Well, I consider that a non-issue." I was like, "I don't know. I think that's a pretty big issue, actually."
Yeah, it was pretty creepy.
It good.
Bloody Richard. No, not it good. It's
No,
rubbish.
according to John, it good.
Well, he likes a lot of things. like this. And
as do I, and Emmanuel, and Rob, and Pat, and so on.
I was about to say and Rise of Skywalker, but you all like that as well.
Yes.
Hey, did I just get accused of liking About Time?
No.
Oh, thank God for that.
We wouldn't say anything like that, don't we?
He's
Oh,
got
I
stuff
thought
to do. But
I thought I'd better set the record straight if that's going on.
It's about fucking shit.
That's a quote you can attribute to me.
About fucking shit.
You're right, Rob. Everything all right?
Yeah, no, I'm all right. I've just got some stuff that I'm working on. I'll be dipping in and out.
Oh, okay.
What do you want to do with Simon?
Tell him he's a very naughty boy.
Nah, he'll show up. Unlike some people.
None of whom are here.
Yeah.
What's happening with everyone else?
Good question.
Going to bed.
Is it because I picked this?
No.
No, for Alec it is, but for us it's fine.
No, I quite like it. Like, I don't think it's like a masterpiece or anything, but I do like it.
That's good because I'd question your sanity.
I was surprised when I found out Steven Spielberg directed it, and I was just like, "Why was it not as good as E.T.?"
But no, it isn't as good as E.T. I think we'll all agree with
Wait, hang on. You've underscored all of the
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg films we've had. You hated Close Encounters and Duel and Jaws.
that. Yeah.
But that was because I personally didn't enjoy them, not because I thought it had some real problems with it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're not doing an Alec, you're not like slamming it no matter what.
No, I had to compartmentalize it this week. Because yeah, and I was like, oh, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch it. And the was like, why don't you want to watch it? And I was
Watch
like,
it.
the fucking I can't deal with all the references. And then we got into a conversation about why references are bad, and yeah. So I decided what I was going to do was keep the references out of my story score, and only acknowledge the references in my enjoyment score. And I'm pleased to announce that if you just look at it without any of the references and you just look at the story mechanics bare bones, it's still shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. Well, it's not. It's not as bad as you say, but it's just, it's both at the same time. It's problematic but enjoyable,
Well,
and also cringe and slightly frustrating.
It's like
well,
my
we agree on
relationship
2
with
out
milk.
of 3.
Huh?
Oh.
I heard. I mean, Rob, what'd you say?
I said that's like my relationship with milk.
Yeah.
Right. The longer we wait for Simon, the more we run the risk of losing Emmanuel. So I say we just let him catch up.
Hmm.
Emmanuel, why? 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 Why?
Why?
Because
Why this? Why
Why
this?
did you do this to me? Personally?
my old job was like, "You haven't seen this film? You should see it. It's great. You really love it." It was a lady, by the way, half half Irish. Great,
Can't
great.
trust those half Irish ladies.
Yeah, we went. I met up with her and a few of my old colleagues yesterday. Great
Sorry,
time.
mate.
We went to the Big Easy.
Oh, nice.
It was nice. Nice live music. Covent Garden one. I had a good time. Had some hush puppies.
Oh, nice. I love hush puppies.
Had some real cornbread.
Yeah, their cornbread's really good. Did you get the muffin?
No, but I had someone else's like cornbread when they had a beef brisket.
Nice.
Usually I'd be like, hey guys, let's talk about the movie, but nah, it's fine.
The reason that hush puppies are called hush puppies is kind of cool if you want to delay it even more.
Hey, yeah, let's do it. Fuck it.
So
Yeah.
apparently it was because a chef in New Orleans was mixing up the batter but I guess it would be cornbread, yeah. So he's mixing up the cornbread batter, and outside his kitchen there was a bunch of dogs barking to get some food. So he fried it off, and then when he took it out of the pan and like went to give it to the dogs, he chucked it out and he shouted, "Hush puppies!" And that's why they became hush puppies.
That was more entertaining than this.
That's believable as well.
It was
Man.
familiar to me too. I think I've heard that before, and I was like, no, but the punchline is pretty great. So I'll just anticipate that. I haven't felt anticipation a lot this week.
Oh man.
Sorry, continue.
But yeah, they was like, when she was like, "Yeah, you really like this film. It's got so many like references in it. Awesome. It's a great fun time." And it's like, oh, okay. And then I was just like, I haven't seen it. Sounds like it might be fun. Watched the trailer. The other thing I wanted to pick, like to Rob, I think it's still in cinemas in the UK, even though it's been out for quite a while in other countries. I was just like, and I couldn't figure out anything else. Camilla had no other suggestions except Pride and Prejudice Zombies, which I was not going to pick, and Bride and Prejudice, which, while it might be kind of funny, I'm not picking that film.
This is why Bill needs
Why?
to be in a film club, because she needs to inflict this on us.
You say that. Be careful what you wish for.
No, it can't be any worse than Ghost in the Shell.
I didn't pick that, did I?
No,
No,
that's
no, you didn't.
Oh, that was Dan.
Yeah.
Great film. Great film.
See?
No.
That was much better than this.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
free. Anyway, yeah, that's why I picked it. I haven't seen it. Thought it sounded cool. VR world. I want to be in Oasis when I'm older.
It's just Fortnite, but VR.
Fortnite.
Yeah, it is just Fortnite. Let's just get every major IP and we'll just chuck them in one game, and you can be Venom, and he can do a Kamehameha and
Hmm.
whatever.
It is
Oh,
basically
yeah, he did
the
Hadouken.
internet on crack.
That's what was fun about it. Just the constant. And someone talked about advertising and stuff last time. It was you, Ben.
Yeah, it was.
And from that perspective, I thought it was great fun. I just constantly wished it was better. Like, it could have been like truly awesome in so many ways, but it was very much a film stuck in, you could say, the 80s of when the original writer was in the mind of when he made it. It could have truly have progressed and been a film of its time, but it kept in a lot of the problematic things that the book also had problems with, I think. But there you go.
Well, I've
Every-
heard the
Oh, I was just gonna say, every time I saw Holiday, I kept thinking of Weird Al Yankovic. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, he did have that life. Yeah.
no, just I've heard like the book is just it just sounds like a kid playing with his action figures and going like, and then this guy came in, and then this guy came in.
I
And
understand.
I'm just like,
Oh, sorry, were you talking about me?
yeah, and then this guy came in.
Oh.
Yeah, this guy was on
How
one.
the fuck dare you?
Okay.
I think the book has it does address everything that you probably would say was a problem with the film. It's kind of like, because it's a book, it allows things to like breathe a bit more, and you hear more about it from Wade's perspective of like, why is this a thing? Oh, we know why, because you explain it. And why is he doing this? Oh, this is because the way the world is right now. So you kind of get more of a sense of like being immersed in the world a lot more thoroughly, because you hear it from his like, this is the way things are, and this is the way the world sees things as they are now. And it's kind of like more matter of fact, and more like he lays out every single ground rule and every single thing about the world quite clearly.
Oh,
Because
right.
it's a book, it kind of like takes its time. And I think the trouble is because it's a film, and they've kind of had to condense all that into 2 hours or less. And so I think that some of the stuff they had to either gloss over or kind of condense or completely kind of like flip through to a point. The impact doesn't quite have the.
I did not feel like there was more content surrounding this.
Oh,
I
well,
felt
I
like,
mean,
I felt like the struggle to come up with a story.
no, I mean, admittedly, because I glanced
disagree.
over the book again, and like the first like couple of chapters is literally just Wade going, "This is the world. This is why the world is this way." This is
Yeah.
It establishes everything in that like first couple of hundred pages, but in the movie it's like 5 minutes. Yeah, world shit. Let's go, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay. Oh wait, no Dan today?
No,
Yes.
that's
No Dan today. He's here every week, but not today. No.
Yeah, cool.
Dan's not with us today, but I think Pat might be.
That's
'cause
why
I
I
s-
was worried about him this week.
Yeah, we all are, to be fair.
Okay.
I didn't even have a problem with necessarily the not enough time to do X, Y, and Z. That wasn't my problem. I'm looking at Steven Spielberg going, "You're an experienced director. This is an adaptation, yet you didn't think to change things to be better."
I mean, he changed things to be different, but like it's not exactly. It's like certain parts of like first challenge wise, was a bit stupid. Okay, let's not.
It's so stupid. Holy
Okay.
fucking shit. The idea that there's been 5 years and no bastard's gone backwards. Ridiculous.
Because he got the hints from like a 5-second conversation that he went through that library of his life. 5 seconds, like 5 minutes maybe, and like it's like there's only like so many minutes in the day, and like his whole life is like all just day. Maybe he couldn't get the hints from there, and I was like, no, it's a bit much. It was stupid. Second challenge was actually not too bad. Actually, it was. No, it was kind of fun to see, and it's his interpretation of what the challenge could have been. And I was like, all right.
That was fun. That whole kind of film. What's the name of the film again?
The Shining.
Shining.
The Shining.
Careful, laddie. You want to get sued?
Oh yeah, fucking hell, yeah. I remember the Simpsons. Yeah, but like when he did the second challenge on The Shining, that was definitely way better because it was like his interpretation of it.
How long's a minute?
60 seconds. What are you talking about?
Well, they established that there's a time limit with the typewriter thing, and we're going by the pages, and they go into the ballroom thing, and they're like, "How long have we got?" And she's like, 1 minute, and then they have a fucking 5-minute elongated sequence where she's fucking trying to dance around with dead people in the air, and I'm like, why did you fucking specify a minute if you were not going to take a minute? What's the point of giving me a time limit if you're just going to fucking ignore it?
But is that a big deal? Because I don't think
that's a
anyone.
big deal.
I think you're the only one in the world that actually realized that's
Bring
a
up,
problem.
specify a fucking minute if you're not going to hold true to a minute.
It's the video game anime laws. It's like
shit.
Yeah, it is a bit shit, but it doesn't matter because it's the Dragon
still
Ball
in
Z
the
law.
video game. Yeah,
Fucking bollocks.
It goes, I've got blow up the planet in 5 minutes, but it takes 23 episodes later. So it's like, no.
Oh yeah, that's the Michael Bay syndrome, isn't it? It's like, it's Hollywood, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing.
It never once in my mind completely went over my head about that.
No crazed gunman went into the writer's room and went, make it a minute or I'll kill all your family.
Yeah, but they
didn't have to specify it.
About 10 people thought this was all right. So I think all the people that watched this film.
10 idiots can think a lot of things are all right.
Alec.
Yeah.
They didn't clarify it, but they did honor the 1 minute rule. That's why everyone else got kicked out.
Everyone else got kicked out.
Yes, but Artemis was on it by herself. Because it's like that kind of thing where sometimes if you get to one part in the game, it's almost like standstill. She's on the last part, so she was able to keep doing it. But the rest got kicked out. You remember, as soon after she jumped, it's like, no, don't do that, and they got kicked out. Their access got.
Okay, fair enough. I can actually kind of agree. It's like it's kind of like she went into the boss room, and they didn't go into the boss room yet.
Yes.
And it's like, all right, fair enough. I guess that if you've played enough like video games, that makes sense. But like, even so though, Emmanuel, it's kind of like, if they want to they specified the time limit and to make urgency, but they spent fucking ages just going around, just going, fucking, okay. Admittedly speaking, that H scene with the naked
the fucking urgency though, they come straight back in after. They go, also Parsifal also just got the key, and it's like, lots of urgency when you can just go in afterwards and do it again if you fuck it up.
Oh, well, no, I was gonna say this. That scene with H and the naked lady reminds me of you so much, Emmanuel, because I can imagine you saying that line. You'd be saying that you got into like us. I'm sorry, naked lady. I'm married. Just give me. I'm so imagine you saying that line, and it was so perfect. I cracked up so much because it just reminds me of you. I was like, this is amazing. I don't know why it's so amazing, but it's amazing.
That was so well done. The recreation of The Shining is literally spot on, especially I think.
Yeah,
No.
I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's
fucking
quite
is.
good.
Absolutely not.
the setting, the set.
The set is flawless.
Yes, the
In-
set they stole. Yeah, that is flawless.
Yeah,
Turning it
because
into a
it's the point.
shitey,
It's supposed to be.
shitey mid horror level
Yeah.
where there's a giant fucking old lady with a big axe as he's got bollocks. I hate it.
Yeah, but it's
I'm
supposed
sorry,
to. It's
have you
supposed
not
to be-
played Resident Evil or any other
No,
horror game?
Have
I
you not
hate-
been on the
That's-
internet or
that
played any
shit's-
video
Yeah,
game?
that shit's been like that shit's
You don't
been
play
normal.
video games. Fuck off, Ben.
It doesn't matter because it's kind of like if you're in like in the world that they're in, anything can be anything. Anyone could be anyone they want.
Yeah,
Well, okay,
that's why
well-
it's shit.
Oh yeah, I was, okay,
and
I
But
was,
that's why if you were in charge of the Oasis, it would be the most boring place.
no. It's a bit no.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be one.
I kind of half agree with Alec on certain points because, like, you have characters and you can do things with the characters. That's one thing, but you can't make the characters do too much because, like, we're talking that you because mainly because you were arguing about the Iron Giant scene, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, I get where he's coming from because the Iron Giant sacrificing itself for them, and it was like, yeah, cool, that's fine. Then afterwards, it did the thumbs up, dun, 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 dun. And I was like, okay, that's a bit too much because it's kind of like if suddenly they had on the reverse side, they had Mechagodzilla, but suddenly it exploded and out popped Megatron, and they'll be like, I mean, that's like, I guess you could do that, but it's like a bit, that's too many layers. You're pushing, you're mixing genres too much. It's a bit too much, and it becomes.
No, Simon, you missed the part because he's a robot, and Terminator's a robot too. So when the robot goes in lava, see,
Yeah, but if I was like an avatar of Iron Giant, and if I was falling in lava, I probably would make that reference because I thought,
Yeah,
why
but
not?
it's kind of
Live in the
it's
same world that Terminator 2 existed.
Wait, what do you mean?
Oh. So yeah, so imagine say again.
Everything's a reference because all these things existed in their world too.
Well,
Yeah,
okay,
because
you
it's
say-
a film in their world. Like the Iron Giant is a film. The Terminator 2 is a film. Everything referenced in the film
but
is a film
there's
in this world now.
I've got to say though, there is
Yeah.
not enough references to bigger pop culture in this film because not once did I see a Chuck Norris joke. And that annoyed me because Chuck Norris was really fucking big in the 80s. I was expecting at least one Chuck Norris joke or something like that. But no, Delta Force, nothing, no Texas Ranger, nothing. Just,
Surprising. I'm surprised.
This,
And
this has got to be a first that somebody has been talking about Ready Player One and has said there's not enough references.
Yeah.
no, because
Never
it's,
reference.
no, mainly I'm annoyed by it because it's supposed to be the Oasis is essentially a concept for the internet. Yes, is that not right?
Yes.
But
It's
the
the internet
internet
as a
has a lot more things that the Oasis doesn't have. It doesn't have enough adult features, let's say, and because the internet is
there
just
was a
full of people-
furry.
Oh no, they did reference there is a lot of that, but they didn't show it because it's a 12A movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking there's shit, yeah, but like it's almost how to explain it because
Terrible.
you can it's mainly it annoyed me because he got the coins when he went to and done the first challenge, but he could use in-game money, his coins, to buy real life stuff, and I'm like, prostitution must be really rife in this fucking world.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
if you can use in-game currency to buy tangible things. It's like, no, that's just
Well, I
like,
guess they've got that suit thing that
Yeah,
if someone
haptic
touches
suit.
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Could you
Yeah,
imagine though,
right.
like if you in this scenario where you've like bought a prostitute and then you just fucking have like I don't know, a little bit of a physical reaction in your suit. You know, you're just like, great, now this is all sticky and covered in just.
They do reference that in the books actually.
This all smells like grapes.
Outside of those. Because it's like the possibilities are literally unlimited. You
Yeah,
can
but
actually do anything you like if you've got the right suit.
I mean, also because if we're referencing the movie and the books as well, if there's a modding community, there is not enough like
Simon,
weirder mods.
Simon,
Yeah.
there's no modding community. People don't even know to go backwards on a fucking racetrack.
No.
There-
Remember,
There can't be a modding community.
remember she modded that robot for a normal robot. Then after she modded it to be like the Iron Giant, like they got the bike, a normal racing bike, but they did like a mod skin
Oh yeah.
to make it the Akira bike. And it's like, if there's modding communities, there should definitely be more Rule 34 shit, right? And it's just like, because it annoys me because I know that the internet is just full of degenerate people, myself included. And it's like, it's not, I know this is supposed to be a 12A movie, but it's like, the degeneracy is like not enough there. And like, if you know enough young, unfortunately, people who are in internet our age, there's a lot more degenerate stuff, and there was not enough degenerate stuff on the internet. And it's like,
This is
is
quite
not
a
the
hill
internet.
to die on.
No, it's not. It's like, are you saying that there are not degenerates on the internet?
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
But there's not enough degenerates on the internet, and it's just like, oh no, it feels like this movie, as fun as bright as this movie is it's very nice to watch as like thing, but it doesn't have enough substance. Is the best way to describe it, I guess, because you could say the best way I think people have said things like this is like, fireworks are very pretty, but like there's not like a story in fireworks, and it's just like, yeah, look at all the cool explosions and shit. I mean, admittedly speaking, when when the oldest Japanese brother went form of Gundam and changed into the RX-78, I did tear up a little bit because I'm like, they did the classic Gundam, and it's fucking beautiful, and I'm so happy about it because it's the classic Gundam. But like, sorry, that's a me thing, because it's like the original RX-78, so fucking cool. So it's like, yeah, but that's a me problem, right?
You guys make me so fucking sad.
I did like think about what you thought about, and then like kept on watching. But yeah, I was like, he actually did it.
It's awesome.
So fucking.
But
when references get you anyway.
but also, I guess they did change a lot from the book as well, because I feel like the book has more adult themes anyway, because if I remember correctly, that character is dead at this
Yes.
point of the story.
That is one thing in the book that I feel that was better than the film, certainly, because I think to get to the point across about how despicable Nolan Sorrento is, he actually goes after them in the real world. He actually kills one of the, I think it's Dato or Shoto, one of them. He kills one of them outright in real life, and that really raises the stakes a lot more.
Oh yeah, because I remember why. Because Daito is they're both Japanese, but wait, have you guys heard of? Oh, I know Emmanuel has, but have you guys heard of the term
They're not-
hikikomori?
They're not both
No.
Japanese. I don't
Oh,
think.
in the book they are.
Oh, but they are.
Yeah, but like, have you heard the term hikikomori? I know you know.
Of course. Oh, you mean the
Okay.
rest?
Yeah, but like, okay, essentially, a hikikomori is like a recluse or a shut-in, but like
Oh.
to like very extreme. It's very extreme, and it's very prevalent in Japanese culture. So essentially, what they did is they found out where he lived, and essentially, because they know he was a recluse, they made it look like he committed suicide by jumping out the window. And it's like, oh fuck, that's fucking dark, obviously, because it's supposed to be a young adult's book, and obviously they couldn't make that in this version because it's or as you said, it's the 12A, and
Yeah.
it's just like it's not quite right to do it like that. But I am annoyed that they just made him into like his real life version into like his ninja self, because I don't think someone who plays video games all that much would also have ninja skills in that particular. It didn't make sense to me for that.
I think it's a difference between something like, sorry, you get around to your opening statements. The difference between something like this and a Sword Art Online kind of VR, which maybe I don't know if the books were more like that, but in this, actually, it's kind of a mix. But anyway, you know how you have some kind of VR stories where the people have done the skill so many times, they're able to do similar things in real life. Their body doesn't quite catch up, but they're able to do similar things in real life because they're so used to doing this kind of action. They try to do it in real life, even though they can't do that skill for real.
It's like Wii bowling.
Well, no, I feel like you're pushing into the Matrix Neo territory there, and it's like, oh, that's a conversation in itself, right? It's like, yes, I can actually bend bullets and slow down robots with my mind, and it's like, but could you though? It doesn't quite make sense if you had your Neo the One powers in real life. But that's a conversation I can imagine you guys have had before, so let's not go into that too much.
There's research into it though. Miller was talking about this. Yes, you were, regardless of whether you don't want to be in this club or not. Sorry, you can do your opening statements.
Oh, wait, have you guys not done your opening statements already?
No, we kind of just went right in.
Okay.
Just do statements. That's what we do.
Statements. It's pretty. It has no substance.
It's
Yeah.
shit and it has no substance.
It's good. It does have some substance, even if it's.
Oh, you're fucking lying, yeah.
It's good.
No, stop lying to these people. Fucking some substance.
Yeah,
Go on.
it does have merit.
Give me some substance.
Well, I think when I read the book, I thought that was quite an impressive, like, just not because of the whole like references and that's just like kind of like a cherry on the cake kind of thing. But I feel like it kind of works in a way that it represents what society is now, as well as where it's going as well. And I
So the
feel
substance is in the book.
well, the film has this too. I feel like people that have actually watched this film actually get this without actually reading the book.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Huh. I see we're being accusatory now.
Yes. Because it reflects like how we are as people in real life. It's kind of like it reflects our personalities. It reflects about who we are, who we choose to appear to be online compared to who we are in real life. So like some people do have insecurities and like their own kind of personal issues and things that they aren't comfortable dealing with in real life. But when you're online, where you have this avatar, you can be more of yourself. You can be whoever you want to be. You can do what you want to do. And obviously the Oasis allows you to basically do that. And I feel that all the stuff that the Oasis does allows people to actually be completely comfortable in themselves about how true they are to they are in real life. Well, how they're not in real life, but how they are inside. So it does speak to kind of like how people have these issues with their sexuality and their personality as well. And H is such a brilliant character for that reason, because of that fact that she is a woman, but she appears to be a man online because she feels more comfortable being one. And people like her exist now that they just don't really know who they are or what they want to be in their life. But when they're online and they can be what they want with no judgment, there's an anonymity there. And this film kind of has all those things in it because you can have the anonymity to protect yourself. And when someone goes after you, when they try to figure out who you are, you're at risk, and it kind of unravels everything, and you're kind of like quite. It's a very dangerous place, but at the same time, it's kind of like you have this safe space when you have the people around you that you trust. But at the same time, who can you trust? Who can you say that is really who they are? So I feel there's a lot of like nuance in that respect, because you don't know who to trust, like Nolan Sorrento, who kind of like, he is this corporate businessman with this like horrible agenda, but he kind of like appeals to the masses by pretending he knows what he knows about pop culture, but it's all just a front, and Wade obviously kind of like sees through that straight away. But at the same time, it's like there are people out there that will pretend to be something they're not, despite there being people out there who kind of want to be who they are.
Pathos.
Yeah, it's so I think it's kind of like a good projection of where the world will be going, and that's quite a dark, quite a cynical way of looking at it, but also hopefully at the same time it's kind of like, well, we can learn a lot from what we are doing now, and what this film will kind of present is that being online constantly has its benefits, but also has its drawbacks. And the moral of this story, obviously we all know, is that maybe being on it all the time isn't quite a good thing.
Hey, I
So-
thought the moral of the story was reality is what's real.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
well, actually
Cool.
is what's real,
That's
but I
that's
think
deep,
there
bro.
should be a good balance
That's-
between the two.
That's really deep, bro. Reality is real. Whoa.
Reality blows your mind.
Well, I mean, like
No way.
essentially, is in there it's cool, but go touch grass. Essentially, is what the thing is, you know.
Yeah, it's-
Internet's cool, but the thing is, we're gonna shut down the internet every Tuesday and Thursday because I have a
Fucking hate that.
girlfriend.
I hate that. I hate that so much.
I have a girlfriend that I like to kiss on the mouth. So
Yeah,
if you only had your days off on a Tuesday or a Thursday, fuck you. Go and get a
Yeah.
girlfriend, bitch.
yeah, but no matter what you do, whatever days are off, someone's going to get annoyed about it. So it's
Maybe
like, well,
don't limit it to a day. Give people like a tariff.
what do you mean? What
No,
do you
like-
mean by that?
Well, how about you have like a weekly thing of just kind of like you got like 50 hours. If you run out of your 50 hours, go fucking outside.
Yeah, but it's like whoever decided that why should Saturday and Sunday be the weekends? Is that person just as bad?
Are you
as-
going to
as
argue with
Wade?
Julius Caesar?
Yeah, because he's just as bad as Wade and Artemis.
Are you going to argue with mates?
It's just the way it is. It's kind of like, well,
You'll win.
why
'cause
not 48 hours of like,
He's dead.
no, it doesn't matter what day it goes on. I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah, but then there's people who only have a day off on Tuesday and Thursday, and it's like, oh, do you want to go in the Oasis? Fuck you. He just pulled some names out of a hat.
Yeah,
and
but
he's
we
got-
don't know what society's like
you-
at that
You
that
can't
stage.
go on there
And,
now.
I mean, like, I guess also time zones exist, right? So is it like Tuesday and Thursdays in the
No, no, no.
States, or is it Tuesday and
No, no, no,
Thursdays?
Well,
Simon,
exactly. It's not really
Simon,
specified, is it?
It's all right because everyone on the Oasis lives within very easy traveling distance of you.
Or I will say that in the book,
Like hey,
not to
H
say that
and
the film is-
and Toshiro and Sho, they all live in your area, in your city, in walking distance. Actually,
one
you
thing
can
that I
see
would
your
say that
house from
in
their
the
house.
book, I'd say that they do address that because Ogden Morrow, he flies them out all across the world from where they are to in a central point in the States. Because,
Oh, that'd have been helpful.
Deito and Shoto actually do live in Japan or somewhere in Asia. And Artemis, I think she lives in some Carolina, I think. And I think H lives in Canada or something like that. And everyone actually gets helicoptered out to a central point.
I
And
think it's Oregon.
I like the idea that
yes,
Simon Pegg is like, hey, are you H? And then H goes, actually, it's Helen. My dad used to call me H and it stuck. And he goes, why'd you tell me that? And she goes, I don't know. And he's like, that's really boring. That's a really boring reason to call yourself H, actually.
What?
yeah, well, H, Helen, why not?
I mean, people get nicknames from like video game for when you play games
Sorry,
all the time.
The
Yeah.
issue I drew was like she has this fucking useless conversation when they're being hunted by drones. They like meet up and
Oh,
she's
right,
like,
yeah.
oh hey, yeah, by the way. And he's like, H? And she's like, yeah, it was Helen. my dad used to call me H, so it just kind of stuck actually.
'Cause
Anyway,
then-
we should go to my van. I'm like, why are you saying this? What the fuck is it?
I mean, not like if there was, if she if she was saying it while they were driving or while the story was progressing, it'd be
They
one
have to
thing.
get in the van. They're in the
Yeah,
street.
she stopped to have this conversation, which was a bit silly. It's kind of like, yeah, my gamer tag is Boss Man 69, and,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, but that's such a fuck. That was a insufferable fucking guy. Anyway,
You know
yeah,
what-
because I saw that fucking password, and I was like, I bet you that's gonna be plot relevant soon. All right, yeah, it was. But then again, he does seem to be that type of arsehole to put his password on his console just like that, and I was like,
100%.
I want to ask a question, Ben.
Yes.
So I was doing some references during the time. I don't know if you guys caught any of it. Anyway, Ben,
Hmm.
how is education in the world in the books? Like, does school exist anymore for the people who aren't rich?
That's true. I think what I remember from the book is that everyone in the world has access to like rudimentary version of like the goggles and the haptics and all that. So and schools are held like virtually online for everyone for free at any point. And I think over like every state or every country and every blah 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 has their own like
But-
set classes.
But luckily, we turned it off every Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah, but maybe in this future that the weekends aren't exactly the same as they are now.
Oh well, that's great. That's great. I
But
like
either
that.
way, that shouldn't matter because that's
that
just
sounds great.
but either way, yeah, every kid gets kind of educated in a certain like kind of how it was in the pandemic, virtually on a virtual session. Like teachers would do this and that, and the kids would be limited to certain places they could go. So in their lunch break, they couldn't go to like another random world to do whatever.
The reason I was wondering, just before that,
Yeah.
I do agree with you, Alec. They should have more of a something more similar to a tariff where they choose what other 2 days they have off to promote mental well-being, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You choose those days, and that could be different for everyone, every country, whatever. Anyway, the reason I was asking was because I was trying to figure out why does the main character in H have the mental ages of kids half their age?
Did you know? Did you know they're best friends? Did you know they're best friends? They're best friends. They're best friends, by the way. They know they're best friends, but they're best friends.
Like
They're best friends.
it sounded like conversations,
Yeah.
and even the whole moment of, oh, the thing is H. My dad called me H, and that's a thing you would have 12-year-old kids doing when there's some freaking
Well-
monster chasing them, and it wouldn't be out of place because they're 12 freaking year old kids. These
Yeah.
these people, they're meant to be at least like 18 or something.
well, no. It's the
More-
Hollywood age up system. In the books, they're like at least -5 years for what their age should be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because they're supposed
older
to.
actors that can do it better. Yeah.
But yes, they have the mental age. They're in like a fucking life and death situation. There's stuff. There's
You're
like
not
problem.
gonna get actual child actors. Then change the freaking script. Sorry, Alec, carry on.
Well,
No,
I mean,
I don't know why you. He said, Alec. God, you're Simon. Yeah, I don't know why you'd bring it up in a life and death situation. Just like now to explain my nickname. Just like fucking super. Thank you for that.
And
I
that's a
think was
sorry,
no, Benny, you first.
sorry. I'm just ranting. If it was like Super 8, or I know that wasn't Spielberg. He just kind of maybe helped out a bit.
Yeah.
But if it was in a film like that or E.T., I would have not thought anything different because they're acting their age. There's a whole bunch of people in this not acting their age, and I'm not really understanding. When you're placed next to someone like Artemis, yes, she's got a vendetta, but that don't mean she suddenly acts her age or acts slightly older.
They're
Like-
acting far older because they're all acting like corpses because they can't act and they're shit at it. That wasn't the best joke ever, but
No,
I think he
they're,
gets up to it.
they're nowhere near as bad as you say. They are. Definitely not.
I would
Well,
say that-
actually, no.
What that's just how can you just say that when they're pretty good? Well, I mean, the actress who plays Artemis is in fucking House of the Dragon.
I don't give a
She's damn
shit.
good.
I would say they actually acted pretty well. It's just the script they were given was bad. And what can they do about that? They can't
She-
change the freaking script.
She's probably the best of them, but it's just like, it's Ben Mendelsohn. Oh no, not Ben Mendelsohn. He's not in good things. He's in Rogue One and Captain Marvel, and
Wait, you don't like Ben Mendelsohn? This is pretty.
I
Rogue
don't
One?
dislike Ben Mendelsohn, but he's just never in anything good. He's always like, oh no, it's Ben Mendelsohn. I guess we couldn't afford like an actual actor. Like, poor guy. It's just never
Well,
like it's never a reassuring sign, is it? You're just like, thanks. It's all right, guys. It's all right. Ben Mendelsohn's in this one. Chill out. You're in for a good time.
Well, he plays what you like, what you expect him. I think he was convincing enough. I think convincing enough to be like this horrible kind of CEO with a kind of like chauvinistic, like narcissism and all that. He's got that down to a T. I feel.
You don't want someone who's too good, who then looks like an idiot when they read that script.
I don't
well,
even think he was that good.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I
that-
mean, like the script wasn't doing itself any favors because he's supposed to be the big bad CEO boss character, and he has a fucking henchwoman. Cool.
Who's also shit at acting.
Yeah, but fucking her name is called Finale, and I was
Finale.
like, "Did you?" And when I first heard it, and I was like, "Give it a pass." Then I read then I turned on subtitles. I was like, "Wait, what was her name?" As in,
LA.
yeah, and I was like, fine, no, like, fun, okay, that's just such a fucking stupid. Is that? I was like, is that her gamer tag or something? No, that's just actually her fucking name. And I'm like, it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It feels like people. It's like I don't think people actually use their gamer. Well, actually, maybe they do. I don't think people use their gamer tags as their real names. I wouldn't
Sure,
actually call.
Samuel.
Would they? Do people actually use their gamer tags as their real name? Like
You'd
when
be
they even do.
surprised. I'm sure
Really?
that is. You
And
see
this-
these crazy stories of like in like tabloids about people doing that.
Feel that's a bit odd, right? It's like
Hmm.
I wouldn't call. I don't actually have any gamer tags, but if I go, yeah, if I don't call myself Puss Slayer 69 on real life. Like, if we imagine you goes, hi, what's your name? I'm Puss Slayer 69. Okay, cool. It fucking like it feel like you're a fucking stupid 13-year-old. I guess that's also the thing I had with TJ
To be-
Miller's character.
To be fair, if you were Rob Jones, though, you'd be safe. There's a billion of them.
Saying that, ironically, I'm currently named one of my gamer tags.
There we have it.
Sora. But anyway, I just wanted to say something back to Alec before Ben, because sorry, we've been cutting you up so much.
Yeah, come at me, bro. Let's go. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
contrivance, man. So, imagine if is it Math Michelson? No,
Ben Mendelsohn.
Math Michelson. Is that it?
Interesting.
Yeah, the guy in Death Stranding.
Mads Mikkelsen, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Imagine if someone as good as him was playing in that role. It would be a disservice to him. That's why you
Yeah.
had to get this guy. You
Hmm.
had to get a guy who suited being kicked in the nuts and leaving his password and getting what's coming for him. You can't
Yeah.
have someone who's too good.
it's how his character's written. It's like you're right. Yeah, is that
That's the yeah.
he can't,
Yeah.
he has to, if
No,
he's playing a moron, he has to be a moron.
Mads Mikkelsen is like, yeah, this role is beneath him entirely. It's a Ben Mendelsohn role.
Both actors in Rogue One.
It's a C tier role. Give it to Ben Mendelsohn, man. Doesn't matter. Can basically be played by anybody. Humphrey could play it. Like, fuck it.
I mean, yeah, I'm actually thinking. Yeah, sorry. This actually goes back to my other point. You know, you have that very edge lord sort of character with TJ
Oh.
Miller. I rock. Yeah, and
I
I was thinking, imagine if because the face doesn't match the voice, right? Because he's got the super serious edge lord character with the skull
Yeah.
or torso, and after it's TJ Miller's voice, I'm like,
That
that's
was
a
by
bit-
design, 100%.
Yeah.
he,
but
he
I was-
made a joke at one point, and the punchline was, there are three things in this world I hate: this thing, and he went, and Tabbouleh, why do you have it? And I was like, what the fuck is Tabbouleh? This was your joke? Taboo. What the fuck is Taboo? What?
Oh, yeah, he hates pirates and steampunk. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's it. He hates pirates and steampunk and Tabbouleh. And I was like, you rested all of this on whether someone knows what Tabbouleh is, which I don't.
That's the
I'll-
point. You're meant to just think this guy, he's not completely.
Yeah, but like, I
Okay.
get, but the point what I was going to say is this: imagine you had an actual like good voice actor or an actor who's usually good at playing like those.
Are you saying TJ Miller isn't a great voice actor? 'Cause I'd agree with you entirely.
Yeah, CJ Miller has his issues.
Yes, he needs to. Well, no, it's all right. I'll leave that alone.
I think they casted him for a reason. They wanted someone who sounded exactly like him
Yeah, but
to
like,
be
yeah.
exactly like in those lines where it's just like the orbs.
100%.
It's like just be quiet, please. Okay.
like his character
That
could have
was-
been.
Really funny, that one.
I feel like his character could have been replaced by Jonah Hill. That's it. That's who I was thinking of. And
Yeah,
like they
Jonah
would have
Hill.
sounded the same, and it would have been
I
probably
think-
better.
I think every character could have been replaced by someone else and nothing would have changed.
Well, no, I think it would be better if it was Jonah Hill somehow, because he sounds like that sort of like
Are you? Do you
younger character.
Imagine
Okay.
if the main character. Wait. Imagine if the main character. Again, this would change the film quite a bit.
Mm.
But imagine if the main character
I'm trying to imagine the main
Uh,
character and I just can't.
Let him speak.
was the main guy from Whiplash with
Oh,
that
Miles Teller.
same energy and just ruthless.
Oh, wait, are you Russian or you dragon?
If it was, to be fair, actually, if it was Miles Teller, he'd have more of a like chip on his shoulder, and I could go like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I'm with you. And he's like, I am Parsifal, first to the key. I'm like, shut up, baby Miles Teller, and I'll be like, shut up, Miles Teller.
Can't
Whereas
believe
it's
you
this,
actually remembered
whereas
the
it's
line.
this kid, and I'm like, I can't hate you. You're just too generic, boring. I can't hate you. You sound like a cock, but I just can't work up the energy to hate you.
Wait, quick question: is this actor the one that went to do Fantastic Four afterwards?
No,
No,
that
Miles
was
Teller.
Miles Teller. This is
That was my.
Cyclops.
Damn it! Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Fuck,
this guy played Cyclops.
His face was too generic. I couldn't. I mixed up my properties. Damn. it.
It's just another generic X-Men Marvel property.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm trying-
That's another great quote, Simon. That could have been the tagline for the film. I mix up my properties.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's so much. There's actually a lot of advertising in the film itself, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I get that it's all references to characters and shit, but like within the first couple of minutes when he's first introducing the world, you go Minecraft, and I was like, I fucking hate you. I was like, I was like, the first thing I saw.
I'll do you one better, Simon.
Hmm.
I pressed play, and it started doing an '80s song, and I instantly was just like, turn it off. Turn it off, man. I can't deal with this '80s synth dance crap. Fucking turn it off right now.
Oh, so you don't like some of Rob's films?
Yeah, but
No.
Alec doesn't. No, that's the sad thing. Alec hated Stand By Me.
Yeah, I
Like-
did.
I feel like the music wasn't as blatant, as obvious as like the advertisement for Minecraft when it was shining brightly in your face,
Oh, yeah.
being
This is-
built up
thi-
together.
It
That
was all obnoxious.
I do feel like using Minecraft was a bit of a dated move because it's kind of like it was then when it came out. It wasn't like a timeless property like it was. Like if you're going to reference something from the 80s, you're going to have something that kind of that holds the test of time because it has always held the test of
Yeah, but-
time since it was made.
But
What
Go
I,
on.
I gonna say what I would say is for the age range he targeted this film at, it's gonna be timeless for
For the people who love Minecraft, yeah.
because my brother, that will stay to him till he's an old man. I'm sure of it.
Yeah,
See,
like-
there we go.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. But
Right.
that in itself is a problem because the whole point of it is that he based the Oasis on things that he loved from the 80s. That's why I made the Chuck Norris joke. But it's a question of like if you base it on the shit that's popular now, it
Mhm.
becomes completely different. It's the reason why it's like Minecraft was the big one, right? Because it was so obvious in your face. Then there's all the fucking like Microsoft and like Microsoft
Fortnite.
and Blizzard companies. Well, the Fortnite, the Master
Yeah,
Chiefs, the
yeah.
Tracers, a bit too much Tracer to be honest. It's like Blizzard paid them to go, yes, focus a bit more on Tracer, right? And they
Mhm.
was like, that's a bit, I don't know. And they didn't have one of the most important video characters in the world. They didn't have Pac-Man or Mario. And that's annoying to me. I was like, did
That's
Nintendo
surprising.
did Nintendo not agree to allow the
Yeah,
licensing? I was like,
Nintendo probably did not agree because of how protective they. Yeah,
Yeah,
they,
that's a
they-
good point. They weren't really there, were they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to be fair, Nintendo are like notoriously bad with that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's why it took them so long to do another Mario movie.
They always say like go on like they go through these phases where they just go through YouTube and like target people with 10 views just because they've got like a reference to Mario in them.
You said
Yeah.
Sonic, fuck you.
that's a
Basically,
whole
yeah.
that's a whole conversation itself that is very problematic. But I'm not going to go through that either. But what I would add to what you were saying, Simon, sorry, was that yes, it was based on a lot of his references to the 80s, but all the people playing in it now
Mm.
are not from that time. They are from this, I said this time, they're from modern times. So they're going to bring their own selves into the game. And because of IOI being the capitalist, pay to win, money grabbing, loot box,
Pig dog.
say Blizzard. Just say Blizzard.
that's
Yeah,
the-
It's
Blizzard
easier.
games.
EA, they're going to advertise, they're going to cash into the current pop culture, not the 80s, but
Oh,
the current
okay.
culture and sell the crap out of that.
Yeah, what's
That's
so?
That-
how
But
people have
that's
these things.
okay. But that in itself is also a problem because the reason why I say the second challenge was a very good challenge is because it's still within the mind and the time period of his stuff. Even though it's not quite what it was in the book, it's still within that sort of like age gap of the 80s and stuff. And that was like, and it was The Shining. It's like it's quintessential like 80s, 90s sort of like horror film. The thing that they did in the first challenge was a D&D reference. And that was like very popular in the 80s and stuff. But they didn't do that. They just made the very generic race thing with properties that is Godzilla. Oh, not Godzilla, fucking King Kong and
King
shit.
Kong.
And they was like, that's not really the right time period, I guess. It feels a bit off, if you know what I mean.
Well,
Oh, no, you're-
I think it's
Emmanuel,
more
you're
just
muted.
like it's a bit more like if Emmanuel doesn't say anything, more broad if there's something for people to understand. Of like more people of every age will understand the reference more than one random 80s thing, which they would have later on in the film. If that makes sense. So they're kind of like, let's just use King Kong, they use the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, etc., and a race everyone can get behind. So I can understand why Spielberg and the rest of the producers would do that, because it's kind of like, yeah, let's just kind of like make it a bit more of like a good easy in. Kind of like everyone can, from the age of 10 to the age of 75, can actually get this.
I mean, it's not like I agree that's what they wanted. I don't agree for the principle of what the story was originally going for,
No.
if you understand what I mean. Because if it's the things that he loved growing up and he made it into the challenge, it should have been things that he personally knew.
Yeah.
I feel like they did that right for the second challenge because it's something that was personal to him. The first challenge, I was like, it's a bit too generic. And
Yeah.
because it's too generic, it becomes, was there like a
Right.
meaning behind it doing is for going backwards in time? It was like a backwards in time there,
Back in
backwards
time.
faster. So fucking no, because he was in the fucking DeLorean and I've got my
Gotta
geography
go back
fucking mixed
in
up here.
time.
Ah.
Can I just say though? Can I just say on that little subject? I can't fucking believe. Obviously, I got the problem that no one fucked about and went backwards one time and discovered it. But it's also he went into the archive every day and he's seen that specific clip 1,000 times, apparently, according to that Butler guy.
Mm.
He has heard that clip over 1,000 times and he's not gone, maybe I should try backward. It's been fucking 5 years. It's been 5 years of him listening to these fucking archive playbacks and stuff. And it's one that, like, the Butler himself specifies that he has like, had a weird focus on. And it's just like, the one you weirdly focused on that said, backward, let's go backward really, really fast. That's the one he's like, you watch this one a weird amount, my guy. And he's still just looking at it like for 5 years and he's just gone backward. Yeah, let's go backward really fast. Anyway, I'll go home now. And he just doesn't think any more of it. I'm just like,
That is true.
dude, for
I agree.
fuck's sake.
But this is also why I was challenging whether, like, what was the reason these people's mental ages didn't match their visual ages. I just assumed there was some kind of lack of education in this apocalyptic world, which I just assumed because obviously they don't really say anything when they introduce the world. And I was just thinking maybe all these folks grew up in this oasis mostly, but didn't really get educated. So mentally, some people were just that far behind that they really don't get a lot of things, or they still act like little kids.
Or
They don't have
even-
common sense.
Even just like the
Right.
time thing, like even just it being 5 years, I'm like, this is a mistake. If this was like a couple of days after, like Halliday died, I'd be like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But the fact it's been actual 5 fucking years. Shit, it's been 5 years since this came out. I just realized.
But it's
But, like-
5 years since I realized that your point is true. It's like it's fair enough. It's like, yeah,
That's
Maybe.
such a long time, especially if you're doing it every day and it never occurs to you to go backwards. I'm just like, no way. And then also, him going backwards, I don't know what the VR fucking thing is, like in terms of like how it translates to your hand-eye coordination. But the fact he can just instantly just go like, yep, and he's just driving backwards, and I'm like, driving backwards is not the same. Difficult to drive backwards, especially like if you're not used to driving backwards, and he's just going like,
Oh yeah, actually, that is
and I'm
Yeah,
like, fuck me, like, what?
actually
Yeah,
that is a good point I need to make again. Now you've said it, because if what Emmanuel was saying was correct, that they have a lack of education because of age gaps. driving in video games and driving in real life and all that shit, it's not. Is it really a transferable skill? It's a bit different because like
Yeah, it 100% is.
yeah, because it's like I'm thinking about it, it's like if they because they're going shooting sniper rifles and all that laser guns and all that shit in like the Doom planets, and
Yeah.
it's like if you gave a real gun to H, would she actually know how to use it properly? It doesn't quite translate. And I feel like education-wise, that makes sense what Emmanuel says, because like their education is not quite right. And that's probably why they don't act their age properly, because they've been taught things differently, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like, yes, to drive, you have to, do the clutch, you go for your right gear, shit. To drive in a video game, press A. Okay, I'm driving now. And it's like, I feel like it's a big jump into educational difference there. And it's just like, yeah, it's a bit, that's a bit much. But I can't, I agree with Emmanuel, because it's like, the education wise, it doesn't quite make sense, because it's like, their age, what they're learning is not, it's not right either. And I think it's the same and I feel like it's slightly the same for the book as well, because if I remember correctly, they have like the school system, but it's kind of literally just like, here is the class, here is the reference books, go on, go, do yourself. And I was like, I don't know, because like essentially that's the way I remember like reading the book. It's just like they got the reference books and they've got the paper, and then it's like, all right, sort yourself out. We'll test you later. All right, bye. And it's like, that's not really teaching, And it's like you can't really. I mean, you can learn that way, but it's like it's not the right type of learning. If you know what I mean.
Reminds me of my sixth form.
Yeah, but if you imagine doing that to a bunch of 13-year-olds who have like super unfocusedness and like shit, and it's like,
I diagnose you with super unfocused.
I don't want to say ADHD, but like it's
super
not,
unfocused.
It's kind of like if you gave a kid a book and you gave them VR goggles, I feel like they'll be like, can I play Job Simulator on the VR goggles? Yeah, okay, I'll play Job Simulator on the VR goggles.
Oh, that's a great one.
Actually, that reminds me. How many of you guys actually have played VR games before?
I have. If you get a chance at like a proper VR, try it if you haven't already. I think all of you have actually, or you haven't, Alex. But
No.
yeah, a proper
Which-
VR is really good.
Which VR did you play?
I think I tried Oculus.
Okay, cool.
Uh,
So
I played Beat Saber. I played like a zombie shooting game, and I played this like high height simulator or something like that.
it's like,
That was great fun.
because I say it like this is because I know for a fact near in central London there is like a VR gaming studio where you put on VR headsets and you're given a big room, and essentially you're like, okay, you guys play shooting zombies now or in VR, and you can play VR games but actually run around and shit. And I feel like if we ever had the time to do it, I would definitely book that. I would just don't know if we would ever have the fucking time to do it, because like I've played VR once myself and I was like, it's really fun, but I just play it by myself, it's kind of boring. So if you have like all of us doing crazy VR shit like in Ready Player One, it'd be kind of fun. Maybe.
Yeah, no, we did something similar to that. We did a Star Wars one, remember?
Who did?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Who was
In
it?
real
I
life.
think it was,
Yes.
I think it was me, Ben, Alec, Humphrey, maybe,
Oh,
and maybe.
It's sad that you're not sure because there's a photo of us.
awesome. But yeah, it's if we did VR in like actually in the studio with a bunch of people, bunch of us lot going bang, 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 shooting like zombies. It'll be quite fun. So I
That
don't
was,
know.
that was a really cool one though, because like it did just it modeled like a little stormtrooper outfit over you, and going like, "Hey Ben, aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?"
That was so like that's such a cool experience though, because you the one that we did, you're sort of going through like these different landscapes and you're just like shooting at like random enemies. And then at the end of it, Darth Vader comes out. And honestly, when Darth Vader came out, I've never been so terrified. I was like, oh man, we're in trouble. It's Darth Vader.
Now, imagine that, but like for 13-year-olds and their education. What do you think would happen? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I absolutely actually, yeah, it cements what you're saying, Emmanuel, because like they have they have access to the internet within their very hands for all of the internet, but they're like, study? Yeah, we'll study later. Oh no, we're having a break from study. We'll get back to it later. Yeah.
I guess they were the guys who designed like the little slave chambers, because they don't have any education,
What?
so they put a little they put like a little self-release hatch inside the little chamber that you use to
Oh,
hold
you're
all your
talking about-
slaves in.
You're talking about
It's not
yeah.
very fucking clever, is it?
Well,
Having
no,
something like the person you're trying to enslave, having them have access to like a little hatch thing they can just like pull down and open the door out. How do you
Yeah,
keep anyone?
Like Japanese manga. I don't know what the crap you're talking about.
No, he's talking about
Okay,
the
so you know the
LL
little chamber thing they keep the lady in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that they-
I know. I'm going to explain to him.
Yeah. They talk her through how to get out of the chamber, because there's like a hatch that you pull out and then you like do a little door release thing. And that's how she escapes. So I'm saying whoever made this was of a limited education level, because that's fucking stupid.
It's because like it's a bit convenient that she could escape from prison, essentially. And
it's also
like,
really convenient she could get into a pod, and then Ben Mendelsohn's about to come and find her, and then as he's about to put his hand on her shoulder, the instructor comes out and goes, "Hey, you get in a pod," and then she just runs out of the building. That's really convenient, also.
Maybe.
I feel
No,
like that's
It is.
Maybe
I feel like
didn't notice that.
Well,
I
maybe
feel-
you didn't, but maybe if you watched it, since we're being accusatory.
I
In-
feel like that's because
I will say, not
Hmm?
to interrupt Simon, is that sorry. In the book is that it's Wader that gets abducted and imprisoned by IOI, and he's in there for months. He's in there for like 6 months straight, and he finds out everything he needs to know and figures out how to like escape from that himself. He has no outside help to do it, and he manages to get out on his own. So I feel this is a more of like a flaw in the time constraint of the film itself, because he's like he has to do it. Well, obviously Samantha is stuck in there, and they have to do it in a certain amount of time in the film's runtime to do it quickly. So yeah, that's a flaw that they have to kind of like shoehorn all the escape access to Sam so conveniently. Yes, but I feel it's kind of like, well, they don't have like another 3 chapters to kind of deal with that, which would be
Oh,
like
maybe
3
they
hours of screen
they had
time.
2 hours and 20 minutes.
yeah, but it's like if you did the whole first season of Prison Break and you condensed it in about half an hour, you
It's
just have
basically
Michael Schofield going.
I will admit, Prison Break would have been a lot easier if they had self-releasing hatches they could access themselves. Yes, they would have made that a lot fucking quicker.
Yeah, but then-
However, I would question the security measures in their prison cell.
Prison.
yeah, if they made that in Prison Break, they would just make a 90-minute feature film. That was it.
Watch. I like the idea he's just got all this stuff tattooed on his body, and then just like, no, it's fine. There's a hatch here. We
No.
just release it. We just
No,
release the
no.
doors.
The tattoo would be upper corner, turn hatch. Okay, upper corner, turn.
Let's just include a fucking door release in the slave
Yeah.
cell. Let's do that. That's a fun thing to do.
Uh,
How do you enforce anything?
I think that's the trouble, is that I understand like the writing process of writing a book compared to writing a movie. because it's kind
Oh.
of like you have to condense certain things and you have to like do a lot of shortcuts, and obviously some of those shortcuts can be quite damning.
That's
But
okay.
at
but
the
you
same
can-
time, you have to do certain things in the remit of the time constrict you have.
Yeah, but
because
you can
otherwise
you can make the escape shorter without including a fucking awesome design flaw where prisoners can escape of their own
Oh, yeah,
volition.
true.
Also-
Emmanuel, what do you
also-
want to say?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I didn't realize he was going to ask me.
He
something.
thought I'd go on for longer.
I just want to say my main problem with the whole film, my main criticism, is not updating it enough to not have stuff like Gamergate in it, basically.
Gamergate.
So well, it came out before then, but basically it has lots of problems. It had controversy about it because of its representation of women, the kind of exploitative nature of kind of the geek culture, but in a very specific type of way. There's an article, I'll have to paste it into the chat, because I'm not saying it the best way, but it has some problematic stuff it could have done differently, like the kind of major stuff. I wasn't even thinking about the smaller stuff, just the major kind of things that I was like, that's the kind of things I was just like, as a experienced film director, you fell into some classic pitfalls that I would expect the newer, less experienced director to have fallen in. So I kind of wonder how much time did y'all really spend with this script and also reviewing with like current stuff to really, or is that just where your minds were at? I guess you saw no problem with it. So
Yeah, fair. I get that.
but yeah, Camilla was saying basically Gamergate that was much bigger afterwards. Huh? Yes, you were. It was, huh? Camilla's like, I'm not saying anything. Sorry. It's mainly around the kind of portrayal of women in kind of video games and video game culture, and also the it's kind of like how you have the Me Too movement and how women in games or feminism or like different women's rights and how they're portrayed. And video games is another thing that needed updating in like the mainstream kind of way. And how you had things like, if anyone remembers the last Battlefield, where they put a woman on the front of the kind of cover as one of the, like, it was 50% the women, 50% the guy, and how many people blew up because they put a woman in a lead in this war game, and they're trying to do something different to actually say, look, women have a part in this world as well. And it was so much backlash. And this, around that, Ready Player One got some controversy because it was slightly feeding into this as well. So it's a hard one. But anyway, sorry.
Well, it's very interesting.
Are you saying that it's because the portrayal of the female characters are very stereotypical, and it's a problem, and it's a problem with the movie or the director of the movie?
Oh no, I think it's just portrayal of the female characters in the film, and also what they could have done with it to make it more balanced. But to be honest, like even before like Gamergate and stuff, that was still the thing that was brought up in many films. And it just could have been more balanced. And it was kind of a surprise that he did it in such a stereotypical way. I know that in itself, it's a reference to many different things. The way this movie was done, it's just that it still could have been lots of great references, but done differently with a modern take on it, so that it's a more balanced view for everyone watching. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, I didn't think about it until like someone sent me the article, and I was just like, "Oh, yeah, that's yeah, very fair point." Sorry, got a bit heavy there.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
I mean, like, I mean, the movie again is not quite the same as the book if you want to talk about heavy subjects, because as I said before, if we talk about the way that this version of the world and the book version of the world are ever so slightly different, because it's not like overly negative stereotypes, but like there's a very stereotype about people who are in geek culture or nerd culture, are very how to explain it, not the most picturesque looking
Virgins.
people. Oh well,
Big chronic virgin.
no man, but no, but essentially that the whole point is that they're not like model perfect, like they're video game avatars, and it's like, all right, and that in itself is also a discussion that they didn't really have. Well, they kind of had in the movie, because you had Samantha with her birthmark on her face, which is, to be honest, did you really know it wasn't really a noticeable birthmark, was it? Like if you
It wasn't the worst birthmark of it, because I saw a girl one time and she had a birthmark and there was like hair growing out of it, and I was like, if you'd have committed to something like that, I could have been like, yeah.
But at the same time, like, people are insecure about even the like most.
I can see why she'd be
Smallest things.
insecure about it.
Yeah, so I can understand, like, even something like that. She's just like, she doesn't want anyone to know it, even if for someone like Wade and most people like us would be like, okay.
I think I would have respected the balls on them though, if she was like, I'm not what you're expecting. And then when he meets her, she's like 300 pounds. Like she's in like she's in a mobility scooter. She's like an old woman in like a mobility scooter, and she can't fucking move. Like
Alec,
I think that'd have been funnier.
Actually, Alec, I think that's actually part of the book. There is one of the characters is actually a very overweight character that they don't show.
It's H.
Because but is it H?
Yeah, H is quite big. I mean, I don't think she's so like the whale size or anything like that, but I think she's very overweight, and she's very insecure about what she looks like.
Yeah, I guess that's a problem. I mean, that's a problem with like the identity in real life versus identity versus the person who is in your character. I guess that is one of the main. I guess that is the substance of this film, right, Alec?
See?
No, I don't see any substance in this film.
Okay. Okay.
I'd have respected it if someone came out and they were just like, and who are you? And they were like, I'm Daito. And they're like, why are you in a furry outfit? You know what? That's okay.
Okay, fucking hell, man.
Avatar. He's an Avatar ninja.
Oh yeah, but he gets thrown out a window as well. But it's like, I don't think that really counts. But I guess it's what's one of those things about it. It's kind of like they could have actually went a slightly more serious route about it and used the descriptions from the book to make them in the movie. If they did it like that, it would be mad respect because it's showing you sometimes truth isn't always pretty, I guess, but it's like who we are in life, and like we have to live in reality, as the whole moral of the fucking story is, right? Reality is the life we live in. That's where we can, but it's like they didn't really choose to show that.
Yeah,
in
they
this
weren't
film.
very brave with it.
Yeah, they went, oh yeah, she's got the
They could have
birthmark,
made
which is like,
they could have made either Daito or Sho. They could have just made him like a weeb, like just a common variety weeb, and they just like just like, oh yeah, no, I'm just a weird white guy, and you're just like, oh, okay.
actually
And
would explain a lot about the Ultraman thing.
because I don't know if this is like I don't know if I'm gonna sound like an idiot for this one, but like just like we've got a samurai guy, we've got a ninja guy, and it's like, oh yeah, they're both played by both their kids are like Asians and like Asian kids, and I'm just like, I don't know, like it just seems like I'd make a character that's like a red coat. It just seems like a little bit odd.
Oh,
To
I
me,
mean,
it was,
no, this is a reference again for the book, mainly because it's the conversation of why is Ultraman. Mainly it's because it's like, no, we're Japanese. Give us the Ultraman costume so we can have it because it should belong to a Japanese character. Japanese person should have a Japanese character. You get what I mean? They have this conversation with characters themselves, and they're like, if you had Optimus Prime, if I had the robot and it was Optimus Prime, I would give it to you because you're American. But if you have Ultraman, you have to give it to us because we're Japanese.
oh, so something that's commented on in book.
Is actually commented on, yeah. So
Okay.
it's actually a reference, and I think that in itself is not too much of a problem to me because it's like they talk to because it's not even not even lampshading, is it?
I did just want to say it really wasn't a problem. This isn't something
right.
it's not something I'm going to throw my toys at Bram for. I just thought it was a little bit odd, just kind of like I don't know, just like, oh wow, like I don't know. You have with H, and like she's pretending to be a guy, but like a big orc, like cyborg guy, and it's just like, oh, who's playing the samurai and the ninja? And it's just like, yeah, two Japanese kids. It's like,
okay, fair enough.
okay, right, yeah, sure. I just thought it was a little bit odd. I don't know, but like,
oh, I see where you're coming from, but I'm like, it's not too much of a problem to me. It's like it's not really a problem at all,
it just seems stereotypical to me, and I was just, I don't know, like I said, it was like, oh yeah, I didn't when we played video games, I didn't after like a colonizer. Like,
but I guess it's kind of like if someone's from, let's say, Texas, and they go, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a video character. What is he gonna be? He's gonna be a cowboy, obviously.
I'm obviously gonna be a cat. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it feels like it's a bit on the nose, but it made sense for these characters because they're like, yeah, but that's what we know, and it's like, and that's why we want the Ultraman, and it's like, fair enough. Give you props to that. That in itself is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. You've had your hand up.
Yeah.
That's all right. There were multiple things. Hopefully, I can remember them. No, this is not a dig at anyone. I'm trying to listen to you guys, so of course I'm going to forget what I'm wanted to say. So one, I know probably most people already said this before. It really annoyed me every single time he was just like, I love you. And I was just like, what the crap? Like, what the crap? What the? And again, every time he kept saying it in inappropriate situations and all sorts of other stuff, it just didn't seem like his age. I'm just like, I'm very confused. I'm not liking what's happening, but at the same time, why are you the one? You're too old for this. Anyway, you should.
Well, I mean,
Push.
he says, "I love you. You'll forgive me for this." They shoots her in the face, so you know it's a bit problematic in itself, right there.
He what's in the face?
Oh yeah, because like he essentially he says, "I love you. You'll forgive me," and shoots Artemis in the face, and that's like that's kind of problematic.
That was a reference to something she said earlier to him.
Oh, true, but it's like it looks a bit. This is. Go on. What were you sorry, continue.
Yeah, still problematic. The other thing you said about the kind of thing that would have made it better about not being like not seeing who we are in the game world with this and X, Y, and Z, and there's other stories that go like on about that, like you said about the really big H in real life. Obviously, the in the film they make a reference to that as well, kind of thing. But that's the kind of thing I would have expected Spielberg to do in one of his films. Not this, because he's the type of person that would weave in things like that into a family film. So again, I was so confused. The film ended up like this. I was just like, what happened? And,
oh, sorry.
Oh, carry on.
I'm going to go on a tangent. I'll let you.
Okay. The last thing I wanted to ask, because maybe there's some context in the book we're missing. I found it interesting how Toshiro never says his name or Sho or Jo, however his name is actually spelled. He never says either of their names like a Japanese person would, or like I feel like quite a few Southeast Asian people would actually say it. He says it the way someone who's raised up, obviously, overseas, but has never actually really had much of a chance to learn his own language. And I found that interesting, as in, I thought they did that on purpose. I didn't think that was like a mistake or anything, but I thought that kind of said something about how the character grew up and whether he actually grew up with his own parents.
Well, Emmanuel, to be honest, the book, the movie version of the show is definitely he's Japanese, but he's an American-born Japanese kid.
Oh, not Sho.
Yeah.
Sorry, Toshiro. I'm only talking about Toshiro.
You mean the older brother, who plays Daito?
Yes.
Okay, I feel like, but he is. Well, I mean, again, he's his older brother in the movie, so he is also American-born Japanese guy. So, but it's like his pronunciations would be very Americanized because the actor is American, and also I think he's American. At least I'm not 100% sure, but that I might be bullshitting on that. Sorry if I am. But like the character is definitely American-born Japanese, so he would have his accent and the words he says would be very Americanized, which is different from the book version because the book version he is 100% Hikomori Japanese, and that's like Japanese. You know, they kind of made a self-reference to that in like the movie as well. Remember, there's the guy in the office building who fucking got shot in the like Doom Planet. He takes off his fucking visor and is about to jump out the fucking window, and that's like that's funny in a very dark comedy sort of funny because people will actually fucking do that, and that's not really that funny.
Yeah,
because like it's a bit dark, but it's like it's kind of funny because someone saves him, but it's just like
saying that I commented on that at the time to Camilla. I was saying the person that saved him must have been a really dear friend of his or a relative or something. Like, because if that was just in the workplace, no one would have actually stopped him in real life. They would have just let him. And I was just like, man, that got dark. I was just like, for anyone who knows the context, like the further context behind that, it's just like, man, that's sad. But I get what you're saying, but I get what you mean. They wanted to really show that he was raised up here, and that's how he's used to speaking. So he's not going to say his own name the way his parents might say it. But and the only reason I at first I was like, huh? It's because I've heard many Western, like, born, like, Asian people, and you have many different people, just like how in Shang-Chi. So I'm gonna bring this back to Shang-Chi.
No, fuck.
It's probably a bad
It's at the
example,
wrong time.
Shang-Chi,
but
Oh, man.
it's good.
example.
No, sit down.
I think what not threw me off, I think it's more that I expected to be closer to how a Japanese person would say it, but still westernized rather than just completely American pronunciation of it. And I found that interesting to the character himself, like, to show that this is this character's, like, upbringing, and this is how he speaks, and this is, like, even though he has this part of him that wants to be a samurai and, like, tribute to his kind of culture, he also, like, I don't know, I just find it interesting.
Feel that is actually quite easily explained because it's
Mm.
you got to remember he grew up in the States, and you got to remember how everyone else calls his name. It's the thing about I think I've had this conversation with a chef friend of mine. The example is this: there's a rice dish from Spain. How do you pronounce that rice dish?
Rice.
Rice bowl.
Pat, fucking Jesus Christ, man! But there's that
But
rice dish that's served with, in the big pan with seafood and stuff. It's begins for P,
paella.
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 but that's not the actual pronunciation. But if you hear it enough,
Paella.
yes, paella. Because like if you hear the paella enough, you go, oh, it's paella. But if you go afterwards, you say it to someone who's from Spain, and they're like, paella. Don't you say paella to me again? And it's just like, okay, fucking hell.
They don't
That's
have
how
it in
that's
Spain.
how I heard it, and that's how I pronounce it. But it's
Can
like,
I-
no.
Can I just Rob, why did you stop my video?
Because Rob
Did it
gives
yourself? Oh.
Sorry, I didn't realise.
Can
Can you start it again?
No.
You
I
cannot
quite-
start
I
your
quite-
video because the host has stopped it.
Can you do something about
Does
the
that work?
volume as well?
Yeah, Rob, can you just
Oh, there
mute
you go.
Alex and then we can see it?
Thank
Oh.
you.
I thought you went to the toilet or something. I was like, oh yeah, you just went off for a second.
No, Rob just decided to take me off the airwaves. Didn't like my face.
Nobody needs to see this fuzzy Gary Barlow.
Uh,
Oh, you should have just said Fuzzy Gary.
Fuck you.
Shit,
Yeah.
what? I forgot what I was going to say now. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
but yeah, what you said is true.
Yeah, because how people hear, when you grow up and you hear it be pronounced that particular way, then you go, oh, it's probably pronounced that way in your mind as well. But once you hear it the proper way to pronounce it, and they're like, no, it's done this way. It takes you a while to go, paella. Paella. Yeah. So it's just like growing up and listening to it. So it's like how other people will pronounce your name, and like how you would pronounce your name.
Yeah, I think Camilla said something similar as well. But yeah, Alec.
Went to the toilet.
Oh man,
Mute him.
he had a point. Anyway, so
Did he?
Alec had a
Yes.
point.
Yeah, the first of the night.
oh,
You guys are so fucking mean.
Oh, he gives as good as he gets all week.
Yeah.
That's true. It's like, yeah.
Cat actually. What thoughts, opening statement, all of it.
Closing, opening.
Okay, so I thought it was pretty great. Like in terms of on the surface sort of thing. I loved how it looked. I loved how much fun I had with it. Yeah, there was some sketchy writing in there, like, but I'm not gonna say that didn't exist. Some of the problems that I think Alec had, I wasn't on board with. Like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, shouldn't have mentioned the name. Like we've had a long debate over the reverse thing. I'm totally fine with it. Like,
I'm totally fine with it being stupid.
nobody was talking to you.
I was
had
being
an hour.
mentioned. You invoked me.
But like from beginning to end, especially as someone who loves the gaming world, like, well, 3 of us at the very least still do. Like
Yeah.
it was a great ride from start to finish. Probably not the strongest Spielberg film, but it has all the hallmarks that makes it a Spielberg film.
Well, yeah, it's got
Mhm.
King Kong and the fucking dinosaur in it.
It's got King Kong and a dinosaur in it.
King Kong
I mean,
become a
I wasn't even
Spielberg film.
referring to that.
Okay.
Classic Spielbergian elements like King Kong,
King Kong
and a dinosaur.
dinosaur.
Let,
Yeah, I
let's
mean,
see the driver in Jaws. It wasn't the truck.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah,
What-
that's basically my opening statement.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, luckily we already talked about the reversing thing, so we don't need to go over it.
There was something that I was trying to say earlier, but obviously you guys weren't able to hear me through my phone, which is probably a good thing because there was constant trains going past, which probably would have interrupted you. But you were talking about being able to buy stuff in game that appears in the real world,
Yeah.
which is basically the opposite of what our actual reality is, where you're putting real world money in to buy stuff in game,
Yeah.
which I found quite ironic.
Yeah, but you see why it's a problem though, right? Because like in that world, it's just like if I can get in-game bucks for actual real stuff, it becomes like a world full of like, well, it's the internet, so it's a world full of degenerates, but it's like it's literally characters who are simping. You could just spend money on people who are simping and just earn money that way. And that's not a good thing in reality as well, because there are people who spend stupid amounts of money on CGI girls, and it's like that's not a healthy thing.
Simon,
right?
you ain't got to be ashamed. It's okay.
Simon, have you signed up to OnlyFans?
No.
That was
No, fucking no, I don't.
We'll ignore the suspicious pause. That's
Yes.
okay.
But like, because this is a tangent on itself. But VTubers exist, and like
What does the
virtual
V stand for?
virtual
okay.
YouTubers. That's what I'm saying.
Vagina tubers.
It might as well be, right? Fucking hell. Yeah, there are, because some of these girls make stupid amounts of money. Like they're like the most donated people on Twitch. She's got like in one session, she's earned like 50K in US dollars, and that's like, as a virtual character, that is amazing, but like really weird as well. Because like if if I was to turn myself into a cute anime girl and go,
No,
I'd subscribe to you.
don't.
Simone Wonga.
fucking Simone.
Simone's
Yeah,
got
Jesus
Wonga.
Christ.
Don't do this to me.
That no, but to be honest, that would be someone's fetish, and someone who probably would donate to me. That just makes it worse.
There you go. Sorry, that's all money.
Yeah, it's all money, but it's like, but it's a why I say it's a problem because it's like you can't. It's a problem in the movie world because it doesn't make sense. Because this problem is solved in the book version of the world because he doesn't get the money. He gets points and he's on the leaderboard. But essentially, what happens is he gets a sponsorship deal. Essentially, what happens? Essentially, he goes. There's a lot of advertisement in the movie and in the movie and in the books because that's how it works in like internet world. But essentially, people go, "Hey kid, you're like the #1 top gamer. I am going to sponsor you and give you some proper equipment, but you must wear our logos." And it's like makes sense because if you that's a reflection of the real world as well. If you're like a top player in anything, be it like a footballer or a race car driver or whatever, if you have sponsorship deals, that's how you get money. And it's like made sense in the book, doesn't make sense in the movie. Yeah, Manuel, what's up?
What I would say, I think when they did that in the movie, it made sense in a certain way. So what you said makes sense, and I agree.
Is the certain way it doesn't?
Is that they, by doing that, they would need to go much more into the ramifications and the consequences of all that. But if you think about it at the moment, you still have, they're trying to it's still outlawed, but you have skin trading. You skin trading? Anyone? So CSGO, the biggest competitive game, pretty much one of the biggest competitive games in the world, has a skin trading kind of ring pretty much around the world where people can pay real money for these kind of skins, these rare skins. Now the people selling these skins, they just got these skins like in a way like in PUBG kind of thing. They got these from loot boxes and stuff in game with in-game currency and stuff, but they're making real world money off of this stuff. And you also have many games where you can get, like in Korea, there's certain games. I was actually playing one as well, even a mobile one, where they was just like, all right, if you do this, you can get some real world stuff with it. And it's just like, oh, okay. I mean, but I'm not in Korea, so I couldn't get it. But stuff like that. And also because Holiday is so much, he's like a microtransaction whore. He loves, they don't talk too much about it, but he freaking loves microtransactions and advertisements and filling up the screen to get them to really feed into this kind of.
Well, Emmanuel, quick question: did you mean Halliday or did you mean the CEO boss guy?
I mean the douchebag. What's his name?
Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, basically Nolan Sorrento.
Nolan Sorrento. Yeah, that's it. Okay, just had to make sure because Halliday's the guy.
That implies that he played a character. He's Ben Mendelsohn.
He is Nolan Sorrento.
No, he's Ben Mendelsohn.
Sorrento.
Mendelsohn.
Ben
No.
Sorrento.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and
man.
Ben, man, just saying, just in case you guys didn't know. Sorry, I gave your secret identity.
The
Oh,
Grinch.
oh, man. But yeah, Nolan is very much that guy. So I could imagine that it wasn't something you could have done beforehand when Halliday was still alive. Yeah,
That's
when
true.
he. But now that he wasn't alive, Nolan kept trying to break down the walls that Halliday put up to stop things like this. So I could imagine that he made it a reality that you could do stuff like this. And of course, you couldn't see the consequences of this, which would really been interesting. But when that kind of happens, obviously that would have such a big real world impact. And then you would start having stuff similar to there's this manhwa, this Korean manhwa, where they explore those very consequences of having a VR game world like this. But you can buy stuff in the real world with money and stuff you make inside the game. And these people, they're huge celebrities, they're really rich, and they're among like the most influential people in the world. But it changes the whole kind of balance of things in the world when you get these super famous, super kind of point rich people in the game who can then influence real life. So I get what you're saying, and it would have been interesting if they could have explored that a bit more. But I also think Nolan was the type of person who definitely would have tried to make that thing a reality.
But sorry, this is going back to my point though. But if you go too far with it, it becomes a whole situation, because it becomes afterwards literally people who are like playing Stardew Valley and become farmers in video game world to make coins, and it'll become really stupid, because you've got people who are farming in the virtual world for real life money, and it becomes
That's basically what the IUI 6 people were doing, though.
Your economy can't work that way. If you can use a non-tax, it's almost, we could almost go into a conversation about cryptocurrency, but we won't, because it's too complicated. But if you do inside the video world, I'm gonna go, I'm a farmer. I'm gonna start actually farming shit and to make fake coins, to make real money coins, and I can use real money to buy food. I guess there's a certain that can't work. That doesn't work, Emmanuel. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all.
It almost happened in real life. Like you had the whole crypto mining thing that could have gone so far that you've had people try to make that a reality with the games, but you then had countries go, F you, we're not letting this work because the countries in this world aren't destabilized. You got China and America, all sorts of people going, F this, no, we ain't doing this. Shut down the places so that they can't actually mine like crazy. They can only do a little bit. But they're in an apocalyptic type world. I can't think of the word properly. So you don't have centralized governments properly who have enough resources to stop it from happening.
That's true, but it's like it doesn't quite make sense though. Well, no. All that means is having this conversation, I'm going to take a screenshot of and I'm going to sell it as Good Brothers NFT. Hey!
Oh, don't include me in this NFT shit.
Well, no, you are the NFT, so we can make money off your face, and it's amazing. Then afterwards, we can have Good Brothers coin. Buy now. Only Good Brothers coin. But it's like it's that's a conversation in and of itself, because it's a very complicated conversation as well. But it's like it doesn't make sense. It like as economics, it doesn't make sense, and it annoyed me because you just can't. It doesn't work that way in real life, because you just flooded them because he got the key. He got the points and he got the gold in game gold. He buy all that shit, but anyone afterwards could get that gold and get all that in game shit. And I'm like, it destroys the economy, and it makes no sense for that
Arthur
economy.
inherited his actual real world money though.
That's different though. That's afterwards. After he won the whole fucking. That's like saying, yeah, I've won the internet. I own the internet. That's a big. That's like suddenly me going, hey, guess what? I own Amazon now. That makes me. I don't know how much money, what sort of like range of a gazillionaire. Yeah, I don't know if a gazillionaire is actually a real term, but like if I own Amazon, I'm a quintillionaire. Quintillion makes sense. Quintillion is actually a phrase, is actually a number, right? But like, you know what I mean, though. It's like I have so much. If I suddenly became the owner of Amazon and I had all of that, I would be a quintillionaire, and that's just like a bit. That's different from in-game version. It's like, hey, guess what? I have Amazon points that I just suddenly got because I played the Amazon video game. Now I can buy real stuff on Amazon for my house. You see what? I'm repeating myself, but you get what I mean.
You gave a 5-star review for Rings of Power. You get 500 Amazon points.
Xbox Microsoft rewards. You play games, and you can buy real stuff in vouchers. Just saying.
I just saw your name, Patrick. Jesus fucking Christ. So sorry. Fucking.
Anyway, sorry. I'm not going on about this. I'm sorry. I'm just like being funny.
I did mention I had a tangent like a little while ago.
Go. What's your tangent? I've been on mine for quite a bit. No.
I was gonna say about like I think the thing that I fundamentally don't like about this is I find video games and like your choice of like avatar or like your choice of like character that you decide to embody, I find that to be like incredibly character revealing. Because like we used to play a game. Some of you may have heard of it. It's called Overwatch. It was like a little indie hit. It wasn't a big deal.
Overwatch was in the film as well.
Yeah, I know. But like when we played Overwatch, I used to play this big like it was a German guy in like this giant fucking
Reinhardt.
Dude, yeah, I used to play Reinhardt.
Yeah,
I used to play this big armored guy, big shield, big melee guy, and he just like he had a big rocket on his back, and he'd like just charge into stuff, and that was my guy. And then Rob would play Torbjorn, and he'd be like a little dwarf guy, and he'd have like the turrets, and he'd go around and he'd just go around in the background, he'd just make little turrets in like clever little places, and he'd give you armor and stuff. Pat was a big fucking gun.
You played Bastion. Cool.
He played Bastion.
Well, I was a mixture between Bastion and Mercy.
Yeah, but okay.
And then John had played D.Va because like D.Va like had like a lot of versatility, and you could do like loads of different like you could block, you could fly, you could shoot, like whatever.
And John's a princess.
And John's a princess. But my thing was, these are all spoke to our character. I think, like, because like Rob wasn't like when Rob played, it wasn't like a direct thing; it was like a tactical thing, and it was like you're setting up turrets in like sort of interesting little places and choke points and stuff, and it was like a very cerebral kind of thing. Pat, meanwhile, he wanted to just fucking set himself up and just like just did that sort of shit. I like charging in. I liked having a punch up. I liked protecting people and stuff like that. And John just liked having having like a character that he could just do whatever, and he just like jack of all trades kind of.
I mean, like,
what's your problem, Simon? What's your fucking problem?
Because that's not how you play Overwatch. You need designated teams for different designated things. That's the whole point.
Whatever.
No, it's not. It's not whatever.
Because
that's how you play Overwatch.
No one plays it anymore. Fuck it. Doesn't matter.
Okay, sorry.
You'd be surprised.
I found those character choices to be like very affirming to our characters. When we got to here, with what we were watching Ready Player One, I wasn't getting any of that. I wasn't like, why is he in a DeLorean? It's like he's in a DeLorean because everyone agrees that DeLorean is cool. So all I know about this guy is that he agrees with everyone else about a thing being cool. And I'm like, so I ain't got anything. And it's like, why's the girl got the Akira bike? And it's like, because the Akira bike is cool. And we all agree the Akira bike is cool and done. And it's just like, I'm not getting a thing. And then we get to the bad guy, and his character is Superman. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting something here. I'm getting that the bad guy thinks that he's the embodiment of good, truth, justice, the American way. Don't know how much that went into it, but like he has a version of himself in his head, and this is the avatar he's chosen to embody. And I was like, okay, I'm getting some kind of thing out of that. The choice of avatar that he has chosen is affirming to his character. That went nowhere else. No other character had any kind of anything that made me go, oh yeah, that's indicative of a character trait. And then you get to the Iron Giant, and we all know my problems with the Iron Giant, but I'll voice him here. The Iron Giant, I think, is like a horrible choice of reference, because apparently they wanted Ultraman, who I've never heard of. They wanted to have Ultraman, and they couldn't get the rights for Ultraman, so they went, oh, fuck it, airdrop a different cameo in. And I was like, fuck's sake. It was like, oh yeah, let's just make it the Iron Giant, because everyone knows the Iron Giant. He was a part of everybody's childhoods. Everyone likes the Iron Giant, and he's got his lasers, and he's beating the shit out of people. He's punching people. He's kicking people. That's the Iron Giant. And I was like, fuck you. Like, that's such a horrible. Like, it's exactly the same thing as what Ben Mendelsohn's character is doing with Superman, but it is not acknowledged as the same thing, where it's like something that's being misused. And it's like the villain is envisioning himself as Superman. That's a misuse of that character. Iron Giant is being violent, and everyone's like, "Woo, yeah,
Actually,
Iron Giant! He's got his laser eyes, like he loves using in his film. He's engaging in violence, like he does in his film. He's not acting like Superman whatsoever, like he does in his film. He's just a fucking giant robot. Like, there aren't a million giant robots that you could choose from, and it's like, oh, we couldn't get Optimus Prime. It's like, fuck you, like, man, come on. And it's just like we just swapped him in. We just swapped him in. I'm just like, did it have to be Iron Giant fucking specifically? The one who's like modeled himself after Superman, non-violent guy. We're modeling him off him, so he can be the fucking giant robot that fights mecha gods. Shut up.
I mean, to be
This is
honest,
so shit.
you can sort of explain that though. Bad guy being Superman, there is a comic book series like we've spoken about before when we were talking about Superman in another film, I can't remember, where he was a villain. And that's the
Injustice.
embodiment. Yeah, the Injustice stuff. That's the embodiment of that Superman. The Iron Giant, you could basically refer to Super Smash Brothers on Nintendo, where you can just put like, it's not exactly the same, but you can sort of drop popular characters in there as like a bit of a rumble character. So I'm totally fine with the way both of them been portrayed.
I'm not arguing that it won't happen. I'm not arguing that it wouldn't happen. I'm saying I fucking hate it, because at one point the writers' room went, "Who should we have to be the big robot?" And they went, "Fuck it, Iron Giant," because he's just a big robot. And it's like, no, he's very much more than that. But because he models himself after Superman, I think that there should have been some sort of acknowledgement that this is wrong, actually. We shouldn't just use the Iron Giant cynically for no fucking reason. But they just did.
I think the trouble is, Alec, I think there is a lot more to it than what you're saying it, because it isn't just the Iron Giant. It's like, yeah, we're using the Iron Giant because, one, he's an underrated character. Two, he needs more exposure. And I think in the context of the film, Ready Player One, Iron Giant isn't playing the Iron Giant. This is H playing an avatar of the Iron Giant in
Yes,
a
I
virtual
know.
world, playing basically destroying IOI rogue random people. He's not actually killing anyone. This isn't like H isn't playing like isn't like Pacific Rim. He's just got like just giant mecha version of like giant killing these random things. This is just all in the virtual world where he's just like destroying people that aren't even real. This is all just fictional. This is all like cosplay. As we're speaking the other day about it, it's just like everyone can be what they want to be, and H wants to be the Iron Giant because he is such an iconic character from her childhood, and like all we have is just someone that we wanted to have a more representation because the Iron Giant was such an underrated, unrepresented, and very unappreciated character.
Yeah, and I don't see why that is helped by the guy who doesn't want to be a gun
Well,
and
like,
making him
Even
a
though
weapon.
he actually is technically designed to be a gun.
Technically,
Well-
yeah, that's the point. He's,
Well,
he's
like-
designed. He's designed to
Manuel
be a
has his
gun.
hands up for a
I
while.
know. He's designed to be a gun. He doesn't want to be a gun. You are who you choose to be. That is the Iron
Yeah,
Giant.
but this
film.
isn't the Iron
And
Giant.
I know it's not the Iron Giant
It's
film, but
just
you
the-
take that you take the likeness of the character, you steal that for your film, so you can go, look, guys, it's the Iron Giant. This is fun, isn't
He's
it?
not
Everyone
killing
goes,
people in real
"Woo,
life.
the
This
Iron
is just
Giant."
like
Okay.
the same,
No,
and this
but
is
he's
like
in-
his
You don't
fucking
get him, man.
villains
You
in
don't
this
get it.
case. It's
You
like the
using him to
IOI.
be a violent character. I
The
fucking hate it.
IOI
Go
aren't
on.
like good guys, are they?
I don't give a fuck.
okay, Emmanuel, you first.
Yes, Emmanuel, say your piece.
Sorry. Alec, I'd be interested if you could guess what character I mained in Overwatch.
Lucio?
May.
May?
Interesting.
Oh, no, you're not a cunt.
Aunt May.
No, May is
That's
the
Spider-Man.
ice lady.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're not
And,
a cunt. Why are you picking May? She's a horrible character.
She's fun.
Ugh.
She's quite annoying, to be honest, right? But okay, like
I was talking about this like this kind of stuff with Camilla, and it's quite interesting, like VR versus playing a game on the TV. In the TV, it's quite a separation, and it's like I'm watching a character and I'm interacting with this like immersive story. So I usually have some kind of female character or a Black female character playing the role because I think that would be really interesting. It's like having a Black female character in like the lead for Mass Effect or whatever other kind of game it is. Like, I don't see it that much. It'd be really cool to see. I want to see that happen. If I myself was to play it, like in VR, I'd be a guy because that would just be weird if I wasn't. But there is that kind of interesting like disconnect. But anyway, I wanted to start on favorite scenes because I'm falling asleep.
Yeah.
It's midnight.
Mm.
What was you gonna say, Simon?
I was just gonna make a couple points. I'll be real quick.
Mm.
I played either Soldier 76 or I played Zenyatta because
Base.
you know they're good characters. They're very
They're
solid
good characters if
characters.
you're basic.
Cool, if you want to say that. But I also played Reinhardt though. But you can't play
shit.
it. Yeah, you know. So second point is, I feel like the conversation that the main Alec, are you for the Iron Giant thing? Are you upset about it mainly because the fundamental character is being used the wrong way? For example, if you had, let's say, a person, let's say you had Mike Tyson, who is a boxer, but he kicks people. Are you saying it's because the character is used in a weird way and it's not what the character is used as? Is that why you're upset with it?
I'd find it as crazy if they were playing a character that's based on Martin Luther King to beat people up and talk with his fists. Like that's kind of my area with this.
Fair
And
enough.
I understand what is being said about the Iron Giant is being used as an avatar, but
You think
I
it's
think
not
they
used
think-
right?
the thing is, the choice was made in the writers' room. Like in real life, let's use the Iron Giant. What they wanted was a fucking robot, and there was a billion different robots they could have chose from, and they chose that one specifically because it was the most recognizable. And I think that's shit. I
Well, he
think
isn't the most
that they
recognized.
should the most recognizable one they could get a hold of, apparently. But
I
Oh,
think yeah.
I disagree.
It depends on what they can get the rights to use as well.
yeah. But the thing is, they chose specifically the Iron Giant, which I think is crap because the whole thing was he is a non-violent. He is not a gun. I don't like that they used him specifically for a scene where he enacts violence.
Even if the violence is like he doesn't kill anyone in that moment. It's all
He killed.
in the virtual world.
I'm not saying he's killing people.
If
I'm
it
just
was
saying I
in real
don't like
life,
these he
I'd
uses
agree
a
with you.
weapon.
If it was like Pacific Rim and they made a giant mecha version of Iron Giant killing monsters and stuff, I'd agree.
Yeah, but you could have had any other robot, and this is the whole thing why I don't like the whole sequence with The Shining either, where they just wanted a mid horror scene, and they've gone, let's have The Shining, and I'm like, if you're just gonna turn it into a fucking shitty mid crappy scene like horror thing, just use anything else that's
Yeah,
not
but they
specifically
used
The
The
Shining
Shining.
or the Iron Giant.
But they did.
I know they
I
did. I
think
don't like that.
And I think it worked for me. At least it worked for a lot of people.
That's great. I don't care about other people.
Evidently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but obviously you can see why it was such a clever idea to recreate these things because
Yeah, you just put a reference to something someone likes and they go, there it is. And you go, whee!
yeah,
I don't think that deserves any merit whatsoever.
no, even the creativity to recreate those things.
What is creative about stealing someone else's work and going, you recognize that? Nothing.
Fair enough then.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You're
let's
right.
move on to favourite scenes.
Yeah,
because
I guess
Emmanuel
you're right
needs
in
to
that
get
regard then.
Great comments. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's a few I think that I can think of. I like it. I like the Gundam moment. I have to say, again,
Amazing.
it's a great. Didn't actually. It's like he's not gonna really do it. He did it. The moment. I'm just gonna list moments here. Sorry, it's a cop out. The moment when I saw a whole bunch of Master Chiefs in the Arbiter.
And they're just running.
Yes.
I was just like, oh, this is great. This is funny.
Yeah, got the Microsoft money.
Yeah. Oh man, that was just funny. It's like, I'm just like, of course there's gonna be Master Chiefs in this. When he was just like, when I forgot his name now. He's like, Sorrento was saying to him, was just like, oh, so how long is the shield gonna last? Like,
About 2,000
and-
million years.
and then it immediately goes down. It's like, what the like the fact that he didn't say, I thought you said 10 billion years. Anyway, that was, I like that. I like the moment where, yes, it was predictable, I guess, but as soon as they he got the key, like he was opening it, I was just like, wait a minute. Like before he even got into the scene, I was just like, this is a test. It should be like, I'm giving it to everyone. I'm not inherited solely by myself. And then the next scene was like, yeah, this isn't right. I was just like, yeah, you're right. It ain't right. You're saying something smart for once. I was just like, for once, I agree with you. And I'm not frustrated. That was nice. I think, the moment where you realize Sorrento's wearing the best suit with the crotch kind of stimulate the crotch pad as well. And he's just like, "You're an idiot." He kicks him in the balls. And he's just like, "Yep, I know he felt that." He has no, I say no reason. Of course, if we're going to the adult version of the book, he has reasons that he's going to be wearing that in game. He has no reason to be wearing that when he's doing his boss man role. No.
What is the reason to wear it in game?
The more adult reasons that you can feel stuff in game, you know.
Okay, so if you're just using it to get shot, then that
no,
just hurts you.
to get laid.
No, I know, I know that's what you're saying it's useful, but like he wears it for like when he goes into a battlefield and stuff.
Oh yeah,
So it's just like you're actually getting shot though.
Yeah, he's more wearing it just to show off because it's hubris. There's no reason that you would really want to wear that in the middle of a battle and actually flinch. Like, that's actually so dumb. It's like, feel what's real. And I'm just like, I was just thinking, you just showed us some crazy gun, like proper battle where people getting sliced and diced and shot. That's not going to help you win. Like, maybe have some boots and some really good headphones because you can hear what's coming and you can feel vibrations. You don't need all the other crap. Like, you just need basic gear to win. You don't want to feel your arm getting sliced off. That's not going to help you. That's a whole nother thing that makes no sense, but whatever. And this is not a moment in the film, but I wanted to ask you guys, what was your take on, and maybe this is in the book, I guess, but what was the take on Halliday's like VR consciousness in Oasis?
What, Anorak?
Anorak, the all-knowing.
But not
Raincoat, the all-knowing.
Yes.
at the end of the game, and he's about to leave the room. He was like, "Wait a minute," because he was his kind of AI version of him was acting very much like a real version of him from the kind of I can't think of the word, but like not eccentric, but kind of like absent-mindedness, or like, oh yeah, where did I leave that in this? It was very much like how the real him would have behaved. And he's just like, wait, are you really dead? Is that really you? He's just like, no, I am dead. Then what are you? And then he just leaves.
Yeah, he is another thing. He is another being, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be like the ghost of the machine.
Yeah.
Because he's Anorak. Because the name and the pun of it is that he covers all knowledge. And it's like, that's so fucking stupid. Well, no, that's just because he's Anorak, the all-knowing. He covers all sorts of knowledge. It's a bit of a stupid pun, though.
Raincoat.
I've got a slightly different take on it.
Okay.
Like, I don't think he's alive in the physical world. I think this is a bit of a Tron thing. Because if you go based on the final scene that his character's in, he doesn't confirm that he's dead. So I think he's managed to. This is just a theory. Like, it's not anything I've read or anything like that. I feel that he's downloaded his brain basically into the game so he can live on, and he's given the keys to the game to someone more worthy to sort of run it.
And, and not to spoil anything, but you're pretty much bang on the money there, because the sequel is basically that.
Really?
Yeah. Basically, Anorak the All-Knowing is basically the main antagonist of the sequel. He becomes his own thing. He is his own being and a new thing entirely. So
is he waterproof?
Yes, he is waterproof. He's also
shit.
He also has waterproof pictures.
Yeah, he doesn't like
no. He's unstoppable.
But yeah, he becomes his own like entity separate from the original Halliday. So it is quite interesting. Thank God.
Nice, thanks.
Considering I've not read either book, I'm quite happy with how I've sort of worked it out in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The all knowing.
Ben, you next. Favorite scene?
Favorite scene.
Thanks. I usually do that, but I just didn't want to ask.
We'll get to you, Alec, if there is one. No, there probably is.
There is.
But probably
You just
my
not to have
favorite
one.
scene. I think a lot of the stuff that happens in Wade's point of view, I think, is usually quite one of my favorites. But I think when he first gets to know Artemis a lot, not so much their first meeting of when Wade meets Artemis Samantha in real life, that was quite nice. But I think when they basically meet up for one-on-one in the Oasis and on that weird dance thing, whatever it was, that like 0G kind of like rave they go to, I think it was quite nice to see them really become quite open with each other, and you get to see first of all Wade Watts kind of like become more himself, and it kind of like obviously escalates the plot quite considerably when he reveals his name and stuff like that. But it's one of my favorite moments just because of how they weave in all those little moments with like the Zemeckis cube, like Pat mentioned, and all those things like that. But I did appreciate how it's like how someone can become so enraptured with someone that they haven't met and things like that. And I can really understand how someone be like, yeah, I don't know who you are, I don't really know who you look like, but I still really love and appreciate you from what I've known about who you are in the virtual world. So yeah, I think that's quite a telling moment for Wade's character and everything. So,
if you're not a supermodel with a birthmark, I'm not gonna fucking bother with you.
no.
If you're a big fucking massive old lady, I will not love you the same way as what I thought.
But that's the thing that was quite funny, is that he was the first to say that, and H was the first to say that. I was like, what if I'm this overweight bloke who in Detroit who lives in his mother's basement, kind of thing. And it's just like they kind of are painfully aware of it. And when H is saying that, he's just basically calling out herself.
That's the most unrealistic bit of this. Is like he meets, obviously, you know, they're all within travel distance, but also they're all his age.
Yeah, well,
that would have been so funny. Feels like, where's Daito? And it's just this weird fucking old man, and he's just looking at him, and he's just like, he's just wanking. And it's just like, I hope that's not Daito. And it's like, no, that is Daito. Oh,
yeah, I feel that like in the book and in this, that maybe they should have like skewed the ages a bit more. Like, obviously, it was cool that they made what was it, Daito, really like 11-year-old. Which was like accurate to what Emmanuel was saying. Is like, yeah, he's an 11-year-old kid. He's doing what 11-year-old kids would do, and it makes sense in that regard. So like the rest of them should have been more skewed in that way. Like Wade should have been like in 25. Artemis should have been like 36, or who knows? Maybe it would have been more interesting when it had been like that. But that is, yeah, I feel that was interesting, and it's something that it's quite telling.
How you doing there, Emmanuel? You good?
I'm falling asleep.
You do look a bit like you're falling asleep.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ben.
Aww.
So, Pat, do you want to go first for favorite?
He's so
scenes?
sleepy.
Yeah. My favourite scenes were when they went backwards and Iron Giant got the guns out. No, I'm joking.
That's crazy because I 100% believed you.
Sorry, I'm gonna go, but I had a great conversation with y'all, and I'm glad that we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, thanks for playing, man. We did indeed.
Get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, sleep well.
Thank you.
See you in the
Bye,
next
buddy.
film.
Laters.
Bye. Oh yeah, birthday dinner.
Oh yes, it's my birthday.
Yeah,
I believe it.
yeah. Anyway, all right. See ya.
See you
ya.
later.
Oh.
I see. I didn't get an invite.
Oh, you. I've told you about it. You were one of the first to reply.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Fuck's sake. Shit. Where was I?
Your favorite scene?
Man, it's very difficult to sort of put my finger on a favorite scene because, like, I basically enjoyed it entirely as like a video game music video kind of thing. But quite liked the end scene between Halliday and what's his face, and where he sort of has the opportunity to sort of sign the contract and doesn't for the.
The funny thing is, his name's not what's his face, but it could easily be because it's Wade Watts, but it's also what's his face. No one remembers Wade Watts.
So it sort of shows the main character in such a in a good light, in a sort of a proper hero sort of way. And I quite liked how they sort of bounced off each other. Yeah, I'd probably say that's probably my favourite scene if I was sort of steer away from some of the other bombastic scenes.
Bombast.
So, best sort of scene is after they finished doing the second challenge, the horror challenge, and watching all of those people do the horror challenge and failing miserably. Because just seeing people play horror games, especially VR horror games, is a very fun thing to do. Because you just see how people just like squirm and scream and go, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It's a thing I've seen in real life, and it's fucking hilarious. It's probably the only moment where I actually laughed out loud during this film. Everything else, like, oh yeah, that's kind of funny. But that scene actually made me actually laugh out loud because it's quite funny to see people panic during VR horror games. It's quite
You laughed?
Cool. It's quite funny because I've seen it in real life. If you saw me go like this with my VR, if I had my VR headset on and I'm like, you would freak out. You would see me freak out, and you see me freak out. You'll probably laugh as well. Yes.
You had the opportunity there to do a pun.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I was saying.
No. You could have done like a pun.
A pun? I couldn't.
Yeah, like with your sunglasses.
I don't have them on me currently, but I probably could pull out. No, I guess I couldn't. I guess I don't have that VR headset anymore. Never mind. Okay, so is Rob still working, or should we ask him for his favorite scene?
Rob is still working, but ask him what his favorite scene.
It's working and working.
Yeah, more or less that. Yeah, no, my I know you were talking about it at the start and like how it's I guess one of the sort of differences with the book that you missed, but I actually really like the first few minutes. Just because like I don't feel like you necessarily need a lot of backstory with this, because the way that they've kind of set it up where everyone's living on top of one another and like you have to like climb to your sort of storage unit and that's where you live now, and the escape for everyone is to like disappear into this VR world. Like I think the way that sort of the way that things are going, I mean, I know it's like it's what, like 30 years in the future. So maybe things aren't progressing that fast, but like you can see a future where that's sort of where we've put ourselves. Because if you think about like things like global warming, overpopulation, and all of that kind of stuff, like it's probably not outside of the realms of possibility that we're all going to end up just like stacking ourselves on top of one another on like the little land that we've got left. So yeah, I quite like that setup and like the visuals of it. I think it's all really cool.
But the nice thing with this story is that you don't need too much backstory, but you also don't need too much story or like happening story or like any story really. You can just do whatever.
You just need a few stories for you where you can live because the housing
You
market
barely
has
need
crashed.
any kind of story.
That's the point, actually, Simon. Maybe I liked it so much because I've come out of the experience of buying a house and gone, oh wow, plentiful housing. This is great.
Wow, yeah.
You've looked back on it and you've gone, backstory. That's a kind of story. And then the rest of it was just a big fucking desert of no story. Also, your housing joke. Yeah.
Ed good.
No, it's not good.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, it's shit.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
No, it's not shit.
Your face is shit.
I know.
At least we're in agreement.
Yeah, but healed up nice.
You want what?
I said it healed up nice.
It healed up.
So,
Can't say that about this shitty film. Nothing healed. It's all just this big fucking leaky pus-filled tuber. Yes.
yes, sure.
Yes.
Okay, so because Dan has disappeared from the face of the earth, and I feel like we will just continue going on to the comments of if this film was good or maybe not good. What is your next film, Alec?
Yes.
Oh,
What film is?
Ready Player Two? No.
It's
This
not
should
out
be
yet.
good.
Well,
Is it? Yes.
there you go. Keep it in suspense. My next film is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Panook.
It's available on Netflix. So if
that-
you pay for Netflix, it's free, apart from the cost of Netflix, which is not free.
Wait,
Say it's an Oscar winner.
did that come out last
Oscar-
year?
Oscar winning, no, it came out this year. Oscar winning Pinocchio.
Technically last year, yeah.
If you,
Oh, I
if
was
you
about to say.
yeah, if you give any, it's an Oscar winner, okay? So if you give production anything less than a 10, you're fucking wrong. By virtue of the Academy.
I mean, like Oscar Academy is always a bit.
No, the Oscar Academy. If you want to get into a fight with the Oscar Academy, then you be my guest, my friend. But
I mean, it's
you
a bit of a slap fest, if you know what I mean.
well, you know, if you want to get into it, then I mean, Wakanda Forever did win a costume design Oscar, so you know, I don't want to be the ones to call them wrong, but
no, because like the only reason I asked because like I thought we weren't allowed to do films that came out within the year. I thought
No
it has
one
to be
said-
at least-
no one
No,
said
that was not a rule.
There's no
No,
rule. Okay,
nobody's ever said.
all right. I got.
Yeah, I've done that like 3 times.
Yeah,
Okay,
Rob,
cool.
Rob picked After Sun.
I thought but because I thought
That
after
come out like
Sun
a few
came out
weeks ago.
last year.
No, it was still in the cinemas when I picked it.
It was
Shit,
still on
really?
website.
Fucking
Yeah.
all right, fine. I got more film choices to do.
You come in here late. You start making up rules.
I mean, sure, why not?
Yeah, You
All I
start-
know is
claiming
I've got
things.
my dice ready for afterwards. We'll see what we roll.
Oh yeah, that's the point, Simon.
Why is
Because
that?
of the nature of Dan being AWOL, your April 1st pick is like out of line now.
Yeah, it's fine. No. Essentially, it will be for April 1st. still fine for me.
Oh, so it's all right that the call's on April 1st rather than the pick.
Yes, I mean either way was fine. If it was for April 1st or done on April 1st, it's fine because
All right, sweet.
it could be because out of all of the choices, you couldn't get 3 reactions from me. It's either yes, this pick is awesome, or it's not too bad, or oh, this film is gonna be really fucking rough. all 3 possible choices of reaction, and it's that either way, that's fine for me because I'm just that sort of awesome. In any case, so Pinocchio by Del Toro. Yes.
Yep. Not the Pauly Shore one.
The what one?
Also
No.
not the Disney one.
So we're watching Shrek 2, yeah?
Go on, Pat. What's Shrek 2?
I might just do that.
Do it.
I mean, Shrek 2 doesn't have has quite a funny version of Pinocchio as well, actually.
Honestly, if I had a Shrek 2 score, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Fucking elite film. Fuck it, my pick's Shrek 2.
Okay. All right.
Ben, I'm sorry that I yelled at you, but I think I think we just need to meet in the middle and just agree you were wrong, and just walk
You
away
were
better
right.
people. Yeah, I was right.
To be
No.
fair, Whoever,
Yeah, no,
whoever was wrong,
Pat,
it wasn't
you
me.
Pat, you just said it. It's fine.
No, I was talking to Ben.
No, you weren't. It's fine. You talked to me. I didn't mean to yell at you, Ben, but you're just so wrong.
Okay.
It's all right, Ben. His arguments were full of contrivances.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's
Well, I think we'll end it here. All right.
How
I'm going
convenient.
now.
All right, man. See you later.
I've got to get up early as well. All right. Take care.